Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another After Action report. I'm King of Prussia, and I'm joined by Salt,
What's up?
and we are going to be doing the After Action report for the Pumpkin Cup, which I organized and even tier listed before the game. And now we get to go in and see how our predictions went and how we did. So I'm sure it went pretty well, right, Salt? We had no issues.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty great game. Where do we rank ourselves on the tier list game? Was it like A tier, I think?
Yeah, we can get into the tier list later. I,
I
it
think
was
that I
the
think that was a accurate
The
list
best
for
tier
us.
list perhaps we've ever made. The best, one of the best. Yeah.
Never go wrong.
Go do a little bit of Trump. So yeah, in this game, for those unaware, the Imperial diplomacy, there are 25 countries, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
25.
25. I should probably know this, given I'm no, but you can't blame me for not knowing
Well,
this.
it changes
20,
from like 25 to
24 to 25.
24, like every next map change, to be fair.
Yeah. So
So,
25 powers in a diplomacy game with 350 centers. It goes about as well as you would expect, which is really well. I played as Spain, so Spain is here and here, 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 and here for good measure. And Salt played as the Netherlands, who are here, 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 there,
yeah, a little one
there,
nuts.
and there, and there.
Taiwan too, yeah. What could
And
go wrong?
that's not a center. That's just that's cosmetic.
It's a relic
So
from a A1 there.
yeah. So we were neighbors. We were both colonial powers. We had a lot of centers, a lot of people to talk to. Um, so we're gonna probably talk for like at least a while about how we thought about this game before we even did any press. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna set the over under at going to spring moves at 90 minutes. Salt, you take the over or the under?
I'll say under. I think we can do it a little bit faster.
Okay. Well, in that
We'll
case, I'm
see.
gonna drag this out. We're gonna no. All right. I'm
You gotta
gonna.
time us for it.
I guess I'll begin by talking about my thoughts on Spain's just positionally before any press, and then we'll go to you for your positional thoughts before press.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spain. I'm actually going to start not on the big colonies, but on the smallest Spanish colony, which is the Philippines. This seemed, at least to me, it seems self-explanatory what the purpose of the Philippine is. I don't think that there are very good ways to get big colonies going in any direction from Spain with any particular speed. And I think that if you go in a particular direction, you're somewhat likely to find yourself being stabbed in the back by your neighbors, and it's quite annoying. I think as in the Philippines, you want to be flexible and you want to be ready to step into any power vacuum. So if Ming is having to deal with a lot of chaos with Macau and Hainan and like if there's a bunch of chaos here, you want to be ready to try to slip some fleets in and see if you can't get yourself a foothold further north. Similar thing, if Tokugawa is getting attacked, you want to be able to take advantage of it rather than be busy somewhere else. If the Dutch and Ayutthaya are having a big war, you want to be able to take advantage of that, whether by attacking the Dutch or Ayutthaya. And if Portugal is getting in the Dutch backlines or Mapuche is, you want to be able to take advantage of that. As a result, my thinking on the Philippine colony is that you actually want to have a core right about in here. You want to have about 5 centers that you can hold on to pretty easily, in my opinion, and pretty simply, which will give you the flexibility to expand any direction you want. The two key centers, obviously, Cotabato here. This anchors your southern flank. Bonin Islands anchors your northern flank against Tokugawa. And there's not a good angle of attack for anybody west into Philippines for the first 3 or 4 years, really, like realistically speaking. So you don't have to worry about that. And there's not a good angle of attack coming in from the North Pacific with this setup because to hold Bonin Islands, you will want a fleet in Philippine Sea as well to connect that. And it will take Tokugawa 3 or 4 years to even be able to have the fleet power set up in the North Pacific to properly challenge you right there like that. So that was my thinking. I wanted Cotabato, Bonin Islands, Zamboanga, and to just chill and see how things develop. Um, and that's
It's
kind of
reasonable.
yeah, those were my goals. Because yeah, like I said, if you directly attack anybody early on, I don't see the future of the Philippines as being particularly bright in that scenario. You want to really thoughtfully build it up and be cautious. So we'll see how that goes if I can do that at all. Now I'm gonna go. I'll go to Europe next. Europe is also relatively self-explanatory. There are a few different options you have for Europe. The one thing that you don't really have an option on, in my opinion, as Spain, is you need Tunis. Tunis is not negotiable as Spain because an Ottoman fleet build here can just crush your position in so many different ways into Balearic Islands, Sardinia, or Sicily. So Tunis has to go. You have to take it either year one or year two to really feel good, I think. Unless the Ottomans are like a Care Bear and also bad at the game, right? Because otherwise, you're taking a big risk by leaving that in Ottoman hands.
No, you just like leave the entire Med open. Those Ottoman fleets will be completely fine. Don't
Yeah,
need to worry about them.
they'll go towards Persia.
Plenty of other options for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll just go east. Easy.
yeah. So I want Tunis generally. I find as Spain that Naples, in most scenarios, I think Naples should be expendable and probably should be expended. Whether you want to expend it by giving it to Austria or giving it to Ottomans is a matter of personal preference. It depends on the Ottoman player, basically. If the Ottoman player is more chill, then I think that you want to try to trade Tunis for Naples, whether that's by you both agreeing to a trade or by you taking Tunis and just intentionally losing Naples. It's up to you. But generally, I think the border naturally should be about here. At a push, you can like if and this is presuming the Ottomans exist like as a power. Like at a push, you can get your western border up to like here, maybe Florence. Florence is normally French, um, but you want to get up to about this line at maximum. But really, I think the islands in Tunis is good for a defensive border that allows you to use these centers to build out in your colonies and get those going. That's my Mediterranean thoughts. With regards to Portugal, I think that it really depends on how strong Portugal is and how strong you are. If Portugal is strong and you are weak, what you will want to do is you will want to in the first year you send a fleet here, you send this fleet here, and Portugal sends one of these fleets to Rabat, um, and that's pretty natural. If if Portugal is strong, then what you want to do is you want to give Portugal the Canaries and take Rabat for yourself, and get a natural border right in here where you're quite defensible, but you don't really have a good stab on Portugal. If you are strong and Portugal is weak, then what you want to do is you will want to forego that trade and instead probably stab Portugal in year 3 or year 4. Um, build a fleet in the Canaries, build armies in Iberia, build a fleet in Tangier, have fleets already stationed here, ideally, if you can manage it, and then just overwhelm Portugal by deploying fleets out into the sea zones that will cripple them and by attacking them via land. Um, so that's if you're strong. If you're both about the same strength, then probably you want to do the trade anyways. But it depends on how much you trust Portugal. If Portugal is a strong alliance player, you think you have a good relationship, then I think you work with them for a long time. And you're very happy. If Portugal is a player that you think you can't trust, is not an alliance player, is a stabby player, um, and you don't like them very much, then if you're about equal strength, you might want to consider stabbing them anyways before they stab you. Personal preference there. Oh yeah, also
Yeah,
Slip
I
Canaries
think
don't
one of them
argue.
always has to attack the other there.
I don't think it's
It's
always the case, but it
it's rare to see a game where they haven't fought, at least in my experience.
yeah. You can
I do
also
remember in the
jump down
Mentor
here.
game they somehow avoided a war though.
Mhm. It's possible. Yeah, and then I forgot to mention, but actually you can send some fleets and armies south into Africa if you want, and kind of get a new route of expansion through Africa. And it helps if you take Tripoli as well, but it's kind of difficult to do that. So that's Europe for Spain. Um, for Spanish America, some of Spanish America has a lot of options and can expand a lot. Some of Spanish America have few options but can still expand quite a bit, and some of Spanish America has no options and cannot expand at all. So we're going to start with no options, in my opinion, cannot expand at all. Mexico. Um, Spanish Mexico, as far as I'm aware, and as far as I care for it, does not really have the capability to expand significantly, um, at least not in the traditional sense. There's just not really a line on Oot, right? Like, because Sonora is here and it borders two Oot home centers with two others one jump away, and this dot, which tends to go to Oot Shoshone, also next to it, you just never have the ability to project strength into it and to attack Oot. There's no angle for it, right? You can get armies in Sonora, maybe you get one in like Kiowa, and you get like a couple in the plains. But what would happen in this scenario? You take Arapaho, congratulations, you did it, and there's no more progress. All the rest of the gains would inevitably get eaten by Inuit on this coast and Ayutthaya, or not Ayutthaya, Athabasca inland. So I don't
Yeah, it's a lot
see
harder for Spain to
to get up there.
project north than it is for other powers to project there.
As a
It's
result,
surprisingly difficult.
I see literally no point in Spain ever fighting Shoshone, and I don't see too much of a point in Shoshone being paranoid about Spain, at least a competent Spain, attacking them, because there's no line for it. You just don't have anything. Um, so with Spanish Mexico, what you're going to want to do, what I wanted to do, and what I did, take Apache, take Chitamacha, and then you want to have a couple of units around in Mexico just in case Shoshone stabs you. And you want to, I'd like, maybe send these armies east up to Cherokee and fight England, or maybe send them up into like the plains if you want to fight France for some reason, or maybe you have a fleet in the Gulf of Mexico, you want to convoy an army into like Havana and then to South America or something. I mean, the options are not very good, but I there are not many good options for Spanish Mexico, and I don't particularly like the colony. Um, for an area where you have few options but great expansion is the Caribbean. As Spain, I think that basically always what you're going to want to do is take Havana, you want to take Belize, you want to set up, take Cartagena, take Caracas, set up a line about here, and then you just want to push this line westward. Just a wall of fleets, push westward, take the Caribbean, get as far east as you can. Ideally, you want all of the Caribbean. You want to take everything all the way out towards North Atlantic. You can support that with, fleet builds up here. You can build fleets into Gulf of Mexico, move yourself in. In Panama, you can move up, and you can support yourself a bit with armies moving in along the south. Say you want Parmurbo, you take it to cut the Dutch position off. You have options. I mean, you don't have options for like what you're gonna do, but you have options for how you're gonna do it. But it's pretty, in my opinion, pretty set in stone as Spain. You want to take the Caribbean. And that's what you do. South America, there are a few options. Uh, so, and by a few options, I mean basically two options. I mean, I guess there are technically three. The first option, the worst option, in my opinion. You don't attack anybody. You set yourself up with this cluster of centers, and you just chill and you focus like somewhere else. Like I don't know, maybe you build fleets and you go into North Pacific and you try to go have some big Asian empire. Maybe I don't know, you build armies and you move the armies up here and then you like convoy them into the Caribbean for some reason. I don't know. There's not much to do with your units in this position except fight somebody else. The second option is and these two last options are about equally viable in my opinion. The second option is what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try to work out a good deal with Aymara, where I think you should have the border set in here, right? Where Aymara has all the south to themselves with no interference and a good DMZ, and Spain gets Madeira and Japura, and then Caracas, and you just, as Spain, push the Dutch off the continent. You just send armies along here. You crunch them all the way out until you reach the Atlantic. France might be an issue at the end of this, but ideally you want to get all the way out here. And from this position, you have quite a good South America. And what you do in this, either you can go south, you can attack Portugal or Aymara, or you can leave some armies on the border to defend yourself, and you can core like Kalina or Belém or Parmurbo or Cain. And then, and this is I think would be pretty cool to do, you start pumping out Spanish fleets this way. And this really helps if you want to take the Caribbean, because suddenly you might, say your Caribbean position is having trouble, you're kind of driven back up against the wall, like here maybe, and you still have somewhat of a position, but it's not very good. You can start pressuring from the other direction, and I mean, it kind of writes itself, right? Like I think that
Yeah,
this
pretty
that
solid.
that this strategy would work quite well for Spanish expansion. So that's one of my ideas. The second idea for South America, well, the third idea for South America, the second viable idea for South America, is you work closely with the Dutch. You try to keep the Dutch as your friend, and you attack Aymara and you try to kill them. It does not really matter how you split the centers with the Dutch, because once Aymara is gone, you're likely to win a fight with the Dutch. That's because the reason that you'll win the fight with the Dutch after Aymara is gone is like, say that the split is like this, where the Dutch have Madeira, Amazonia, Nakugo, Chiquitano, Kelikolu, and they get stopped here by like Mapuche, and you only get these two centers out of Aymara. This is fine because what will happen is Portugal will attack the Netherlands, or vice versa. So these two will fight, not just because of South America, but because they border in India and Indonesia, and it's just it happens almost inevitably. It'll be a very rare game where the Dutch and Portuguese never fight. Um, and that's what makes the Aymara attack so strong, is that now you get, I mean, you get a little bit delayed, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 years delayed of the South America roll, but you don't have to worry about being stabbed in the back by Aymara. You maybe have to worry about Mapuche, but Mapuche typically will actually be relatively happy to work with you, because by the time you have taken out Aymara, Mapuche will have a bunch of fleets in Australia, and they'll be looking to attack Portugal or Netherlands, and they will want you to help with that. So I think that you just have a better setup, um, in that case, for a fight with the Dutch. It comes slower. That's the trade off, but I think it's pretty good, at least. Um, which must feel very reassuring to hear from you as you were Netherlands.
I love hearing that your favorite option is to push Dutch off the continent. It's very reassuring. Any Dutch players, I think. Um, who knows? Maybe the two of us will be great friends this game and just I
Maybe
don't know,
some
colonial will juggernaut our way
unknown
to a win.
some unknown third factor might change my opinions on how to handle South America. I guess we'll see in when we talk about press. Other
Yeah.
than that, I mean, yeah, just broad strokes. The plan to win into Spain: take this, set up a line like here, and then take this, and then set up a colony here, and see how it goes. Maybe you take this, maybe you go that way, maybe you go that way. I mean, you have options. The other thing about Spain broadly that I haven't discussed is that Spain, like as a power, is perhaps the most able country to just take punches in the game, where you can just like you can eat 2 or 3 stabs, I think, and still be a viable power. If you eat more than 3 stabs, or you eat 3 brutal stabs, then you're dead. But just the strategic depth of Spain in Mexico, in South America, and in Europe lends itself to Spain being able to come back from hits like that. Where either there are cases where Portugal, for example, will stab a Spain in Europe, they'll get Madrid, they'll get like Canaries, maybe they get Marrakesh, but Spain still exists beyond this line, and Spain can come back from this, because what happens at a certain point is, if Spain gets built somewhere else, you put it in Europe, you build an army in Valencia, you build an army in Barcelona, you build a fleet in Gibraltar, you build a fleet in Tangier. You can just drive Portugal right back if Portugal is not careful. You can eat punches like that. South America, similar thing. Aymara, if they go after you, it's really tough for Aymara to get north of like this line. And so, like, sure, they can stab you, but they're not really ever going to drive you out without help from somebody else, without some break going their way. And so you really have an ability to survive that. Mexico is a bit more difficult. If Oot gets a good stab on you and gets a fleet into Berlanga Ridge, you kind of do just die. So you have to be careful about that if you can. If you're not able to cover Berlanga Ridge, typically it means you're eating like 2 other stabs, and so you don't have the units to do that, right? Um, but if there's not a unit in Berlanga Ridge, Oot just doesn't really have an angle to get in here. Like, they can get Apache based on having units in the Great Plains, but doing this opens them up to some sort of action for Mathapasca, and it's not something I would do as Ushishone particularly, because you get Apache, and then where else do you go? I mean, you get 3 onto Nueva Vizcaya, but if Spain is, like, not dying, they will have 3 here, here, and here to stop you, and there's nothing else. So that's part of why I chose Spain for this game, because the Pumpkin Cup, a lot of strong players, and you might have some adversity. And I wanted to pick a power that was able to withstand that and have a chance at striking back.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking with the picks too. Originally, I posted like a picks of like 5 smaller powers, but I switched into colonials because like it's more just depth overall, and that way you can eat a pretty brutal attack from somebody on like one end and still have a playable position somewhere else on the board. And Spain was actually my first pick too for that reason, because Spain just has a lot more depth and can take those hits a lot better than most powers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's the stable power.
Yeah.
Now,
I did not get Spain though. Unlike some of us.
hmm.
I think my picks were like Spain, then Portugal, and then no, Spain, England, and then Dutch. So I got my third pick.
Oof.
Dutch are certainly one of the countries of all time on this map. I have like 8 separate positions on the board, and
I mean, I'd say
only one of them
6.
is it 8? Something
1,
like that.
2, 3, 4. Actually, wait a second. I forgot about. Okay, maybe it is 8. What
North
is it?
America,
It's
yeah.
1, 2. I say 3, but this is a stretch.
It's hard to merge
4,
that.
5, 6. Okay, 6 positions.
We can go with 6. I would call one of those positions good, the Indonesian position. Even then, that's like, in term, it's like good, like relative to the rest of the Dutch cores, but like even then, like I'd rather have like a 4 center regional, and like any 4 center regional on the board is like better than Dutch Indonesia, in my opinion, at least. Um,
Hmm.
the Batavia army at least like really hurts the ability to play around the region, and it is. I mean, we can talk about it a bit later. Let's talk about Europe first, but it's just kind of tied into a lot of other death wars. Yeah, let's go to Europe. So
Right.
the biggest thing about Dutch is that your game is kind of tied to what England and France are feeling like the first 2 years. Year 1 is generally pretty chill, so I'm not too worried about that. But number 1 priority for any Dutch position to survive to like mid game is that England and France cannot work together. If they're working together, even if it's not in a line specifically against you, then the Dutch die just as a natural consequence to a
It's just a
EF.
side
It's
effect.
just
It's like EF. Here's your medication. Your medication is EF. Side effects include dead Dutch people. All people in
yeah,
the
like it
Netherlands
just
die.
happens. Like if there's some major threat, like I don't know, if like Sweden goes I just out of control, and England really needs to deal with that. So like they ally with France to like give them a safe border. Well, Dutch is just dead in like North America, because if they're working with France in Europe, then well, what would France want as like a consequence to working with Britain? And then your dots are just gone.
Yep.
So my first thoughts to prevent that is just like get a really large coalition against one of the 2 powers, and then point to the other one and say, hey, this power is so dead, you shouldn't even try to work with them, and we should just like kill them together and take what dots that we can, and like take that position to mid game or whatever we want to do from there. If we have like 5 powers coalitioning France, for example, then even if England want to be dead, they can't work with France, because France is just too much. France has too many other things going on to be effective partners. That's kind of what I want to do in like early press. If I can get that coalition onto one of them, then that secures me a stable ally in the other one.
I think
And
the
then they just
issue you might run into is that they're both very, very aware that the one thing the Netherlands wants more than anything else is for England and France to fight. And so
yeah, like this isn't anything new.
both of those powers are likely to keep that in mind with every message you send to them. It's like, I think Salt wants me to kill that other guy.
Yeah, the issue with that is that it's so transparent, because like everyone knows the Dutch just want to survive. That's the way that the Dutch survives. Like these are skilled players on these powers. So if they check notes, or they see that like this coalition isn't actually real, then I am just dead. And every word I say about going after the other member of the trio is just going to be treated with like skepticism.
Yeah.
The other line on that is to just triple and see if I can get that going. But after like 10 minutes of thinking about that idea, I just scrapped it. I don't think a triple works very well for Netherlands
It definitely does
in
not
general.
it definitely does not work with you on Netherlands. Like, sorry, Salt, but it does not work with you on Netherlands.
No,
It's
100% not. It does not. With the reputation, they'd always be like looking the other way, behind their
you say
backs.
the reputation, but you definitely would dot England and France in the same turn and then be like, "Okay, guys, let's keep the triple going, right?" And then be all surprised when they kill you. Like, wait a second. That
The
wasn't a big
reputation
deal.
is somewhat earned. Yes, I would probably do that if it happened. Like if I actually committed to a triple, I don't think it's very good. North America and the Caribbean just have like zero growth ever. If I do that,
Yeah.
um, South America is awkward, because I'll always kind of be wanting to get rid of that French colony on like the edge. I don't feel comfortable like expanding like I don't want to commit to a push against like you or Imara and have like France just behind me waiting to stab whenever my arms are like too far away.
Yeah.
And it's like Portugal kind of becomes the next viable stab after that, but I need like Guarani to make serious progress in the south for that to be super good.
And you need fleets in South Pacific, or not South Pacific. You need fleets in South Atlantic, I think, to properly stab Portugal. Because what you want to do is you want to like build fleets here, build an army here, like jump down this way, and then jump this fleet here and drop fleets like there and there as well, right? Like that's kind of how I would do it, I
Yeah,
think.
and that's just it's good. It's a good angle. It just takes a lot of time to properly set that up.
Mhm.
And if I have that time, great. But if I don't, then I think Portugal has the advantage that they go in before I am ready.
Yeah.
And the triple just doesn't really do much for me in like Africa or in Asia.
Except make your positions more vulnerable, actually, because you would have to pick a fight with. You probably have to pick a fight with the Spanish or Portuguese, and then
Yeah, it's like Indonesia. I need like hard ally IU, and that's dicey in every game. It's like
and
IU
I
and the Dutch are
and IU with
some of the
Ezio,
most.
and Ezio is I mean I can work with Ezio. He's fine. He's just kind of scary, and you know
Yeah.
he's got me in the past, and I have to assume he's got you in the past too, Assault.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
We have generally similar play styles, but the issue with like IU and Dutch specifically is that there are very few powers on this map that like uh have to attack each other to like win the game. But I think IU and Dutch are kind of like one of those pairs that just always end up fighting in one game, just because like the geography just does not really lend itself to like a peaceful alliance. Like especially with like the setup with like Andaman, Sumatra, and like uh Borneo, it's just really, really hard to like properly demilitarize this border, and then we just always have cores like right next to each other.
I
So it's hard to
think,
like get a long-term alliance going, in my opinion.
yeah, it's true if both players want to win. I think that the Dutch can win without full stabbing Ayutthaya, but the opposite is not
Mhm.
true. If Ayutthaya like has any interest in winning the game and doesn't just want to feel good, then they will have to stab Netherlands at some point. Because getting north for Ayutthaya is just too difficult. You get Kunming, you maybe get Macau and Guangxi, but then you just
Yeah.
like you don't get further north than this unless Ming is incompetent or is already dead. But if Ming's already dead, then Qing is like marching into Chengdu. So then you run into that wall, and it's like you
Yeah.
just kind of
And
suffer.
like Ayutthaya is like naturally like a pretty mixed power. Like you want mixed fleets and mixed armies. Like a 50-50 split for IU is like generally what most players end up having. And those fleets don't really have better options than to just go straight south. Whereas I can kind of go into like North Pacific, maybe South Pacific. Like if I, as a long-term goal, I can actually bring Indonesian like plenty of different directions. But if I'm always having to guard against the Ayutthaya fleets potentially going south, then that really limits what I can do.
Yeah,
Um, so that's all to say that like a triple isn't the greatest idea, but like I'm not like married to like any one colonial ally that I want to have at the beginning of this game. I'll take England or or France, of course. I don't have like one in mind that I particularly want to ally with. So I'll just take whichever one's willing to like work with me more. And, like either one of those really works for me. Like if I'm attacking England, like it's better for some of my regions. If I'm attacking France, it's better for some other regions I have. Like in South America, I want to attack France, but in Africa, then like if England is really getting hit hard, and that's pretty good for me as well.
yeah,
But like it really doesn't matter too much to me. As for Spain and Portugal, I think Spain is probably the most natural colonial ally I have, but Spain also does the least to help me. Like the only like we can cooperate in South America, the Caribbean, and Indonesia, but Spain's influence in all of those is pretty minor towards what my goals are.
yeah.
Like in Indonesia, the Philippines mission is nice. But it does if I'm like keeping Spain around in like a strong position there, then I can never connect Formosa to my like southern colonies here. And like
Mhm.
Spain can help the Formosa colony survive, but in most games that's dead by year 3 anyways, so it's not that useful in my opinion. I don't think Spain is going to want to pick like a fight with like Tokugawa or me just to save like a one dot colony on my end. So like, the other option is like that like get Spain to like help me attack Ayutthaya, but Spain's kind of on the wrong coast to do that with, and the only real angle they have to do that with is with like South China Sea. Maybe Natuna Sea, they're in like Cotabato as well, but even then, it's like
Like this,
generally kind of awkward for Spain to do that.
kind of like this is maybe the best Spain gets, but
Yeah, but like you have to connect to like a convoy for that, and like pretty much every fleet Spain has in the region. And like I played a few games in this region before, and like generally I found it pretty hard to talk Spain into committing this hard for that.
yeah, understandably so.
So yeah, like it's just a lot of work for like fun ring and that's it. In South America, it's kind of a similar situation. You were talking about like how like if I went with Spain, like it stabbed Aymara, then like the line there is like a lot better for Spain to like attack me immediately afterwards. And I kind of saw the same thing when I was like really looking at the region. If I work with Spain to stab Aymara, then there's not really anything stopping Spain from like full sending the armies after me next. So
What
I don't
what would stop Spain from doing
really
that
want to see
is
winner.
Well, there was nothing here that would stop Spain from doing that. You'd have to have leverage either in the Caribbean or in East Asia.
Yeah, and that's hard to guarantee properly, at least. Like in South America alone, I don't love the line. I don't really want to give Spain like extra reasons to go after me. So
Mhm.
in general, I want Spain and Aymar to fight, but I don't want to see like any one person come out come out of that with like a bunch of dots. So if they fight all game and nothing happened, that's kind of a win for me. And then I can focus on like France and like up towards like the West Caribbean, like focus on that area. Like if I was at war with Britain, that would be a pretty good area to like merge my dots.
Yeah.
Or I could like go south and attack Portugal. And, like Portugal is like the last person we need to talk about probably. And alliance with them would be pretty good. I could get some help in South America, like a safe border there. I get them to help me with Congo in Africa. But the issue with that is that like it makes Indonesia significantly harder to play. I've seen some Portugals just like trade away this dot, but it's pretty rare because Portugal can get like 3 dots in this region pretty safely. And generally nobody really stops them from doing that. So like once they have that position, and it's really easy for them to get that position by like the end of year or two,
Mhm.
then they don't want to just give it away elsewhere. So either I have to just like let that position sit there and grow more and more powerful and just hope that they attack like Mapuche or something with it, or I have to just stab Portugal before they can really build that up and just deal with the consequences in South America. Like neither of those options are really great,
Mhm.
but I think like if I prepare for war with Portugal in South America and to stab them in Asia, then that's probably my best option. But that's down the line and depending on press and what the border state looks like.
Yeah.
Um, Generally I like the idea of taking Indonesia south though. There's easier dots to grab. Australia tends to be fought over between Mapuche and Portugal. It's like I can ally with Mapuche against Portugal and then like push Mapuche out when that's dealt with.
Mhm.
I don't think Spain tends to come south very often, so I'm hoping to like get like some kind of DMZ there. And then if I can establish Ceylon over in like the Sumatra and Andaman line there, then I can get a pretty good defensive position against Ayutthaya. And hopefully that'll like ward them enough to where like they won't directly go after me, and maybe they'll like go after like Mughals with their fleets, and we can do something there, or I can just attack them and see how well that goes.
Yeah.
In Africa, I think I need Congo taken off the board pretty quickly. Um, I think Congo just in general is pretty incentivized to attack the Dutch. We did an AAR over like the game where I played Congo. I think Congo's like best expansion route is to get into West Africa as soon as they can, just eat up all the colonials there. And I'm like the first person in that general direction. So I'm hoping to like either occupy them with something, but ideally I can just like take out Congo, and in doing so I can kind of like get a decent holding in like South Atlantic Ocean. I get like St. Helena, maybe Cape Cove. I go further south. Like if I can get that entire coastline to myself, I'm sitting in a really great spot. I have like a lot of little fleet control too. So I'm hoping I get like a coalition on that pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and that'll establish me in Africa enough. We already kind of talked about South America. The Caribbean and North America depend mostly on what the EF shakes out to be. So like who I attack really just depends on like which one of them is willing to work with me.
Yeah.
And if they're working together, then I am just dead. There's not really a lot of room for play there. I guess that just leaves Europe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Europe's pretty interesting. I actually really like the access to dots here. If I can get the position going, I can control like a decent amount of like northern Germany. Um, the issues with that is like I'm not only dealing with England and France on one side, but like Austria, Poland, and Sweden are all going to be pushing into that same region on the other side. I'm hoping to establish good relations with Poland and Austria immediately. Um, or not Poland and Austria, Sweden and
Sweet.
Austria. Sweden for kind of controlling Britain a bit, because Sweden will want a weak Britain as much as I will. And they have like that fleet in like Christiania and Trondheim, then they can do a lot of work to like jointly attack Britain with me. And Austria kind of is the same for me with France. And like with that, like I can like maybe get some quick dots off Poland and like Brandenburg or something, establish that kind of line, and then work with the other two powers in that area to like control my western uh, neighbors a bit. So that's kind of where
That's,
my thoughts are.
that's the hope.
It's just yeah, it's just like a lot of work no matter what you look at. But I think Dutch are probably like the most press intensive country on the board. So I'm pretty prepared for that, at least going in.
All right.
That was a lot.
So that was 41 minutes of position talk. Now we have to talk about all of our early press. And I remember some of it, but honestly, it's been 3 months. October,
Yeah,
November,
3
December.
months.
Three
It
months.
feels like longer, to be honest, but yeah.
This game was there was a lot of press. And Salt will have
I
more to
think at
talk
the
about than
start, like
me. At
yeah, it
Carnage.
started like 1 or 2 weeks before Carnage, I think.
I think 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Carnage was something else.
You had to take a break from this to go to Carnage and
On the
come
bright
back
side,
to it.
at Carnage, we had sports to cover it literally from I think from when he woke up to when he went to bed. Which was
Yeah.
how long I ran the game for, at least. So peas in a pod there.
Yep. It was fun.
Yes. All right. So hmm, press.
Do we want to see some moves, or do you want to go into
No, we gotta talk about press before we do
specific
moves, don't we?
Peru?
I have some press in South America specifically that will be very funny. But I'm gonna start with what am I gonna start with? Um, East Asia. I mean, East Asia was pretty self-explanatory. I asked Tokugawa, hey, I didn't ask, but like kind of hinted. I was trying to figure out whether he wanted Bonin Islands in year 1 or not. I was hoping that he would open like I don't know, like this or something, and then or no, sorry, I was hoping he would open like this, uh, and then
The Ryukyu
yeah, I wanted him to go for
pressure.
Ryukyu. However it
Yeah.
happens, it's subpar for Japan to do it honestly because I guess it's not subpar. You can do this way and then
I
send
think
Edo
that's like
out
honestly the
there.
best way for Japan to open. Just immediately uh, kick out Dutch and just do whatever you want from there.
Yeah. Regardless of my relations with you as Netherlands, I was hoping for him to leave Bonin Islands open because my ideal opening was this and pocket Zamboanga for year 2. And then I would have had that position I talked about in the pregame where you get kind of this solid position and then you can wait and see and do whatever you like. But Japan made it pretty clear early on that he didn't plan to commit to a war against you or to crush you early on, and that stayed pretty true
Oh,
throughout the
nice.
phase, despite me kind of. I was nudging him. I was like, "Hey, so what would be pretty cool is if you killed the Netherlands," and I just completely unrelated took this center right here. Don't worry about it.
Would be fun
Not much
for
came of
you.
that. In negotiations with around Southeast Asia, though, Cotabato was conceded to me pretty easily, as it should be, honestly. So my plan was just to do this. It's typical for Spain. You take Cotabato, you take Zamboanga, and done is done. Ayutthaya, at some point proposed a friendship between us three, but I don't know when that was. I forget already. I think in year two. So we'll talk about that later. But I talked to Ayutthaya and made pretty clear to Ezio that I didn't really want Fan Rong, which made him happier.
I'm
Also,
sure.
Spain taking that center is honestly not very smart most of the time. Mostly
Yeah, you get kicked
because
out pretty quickly.
you get kicked out, but you have to commit to it. You have no alternative once you go to South China Sea. Whereas, say you open, as I did, you open like you plan to open like this, right? Then you have options.
Yeah.
Um, vague, but it's pretty much
Yeah,
set
I
in
mean,
stone.
I get it. You can like if you're in the sea, you can like go to like Bonin if Tokyo just doesn't go for it, or the Zamboanga if they do. So you like double regardless, so it works pretty
Yeah,
well.
nothing bad. It's just I like to maximize. Let's
Yeah.
do Europe next. So press with Portugal was pretty straightforward with Europe at least, where we agreed to the typical border to start of this, and then we both said we should do a trade later, and make things more stable. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, but that's what we said, and we were pretty nice. I was
Hmm.
talking to Cass, who was playing Ottomans. We'll mention names as we go on. Portugal was Penguin. He's won before. He's like stabbed me before. We've been through it. Cassandra might be familiar to somebody who watched other videos. I think. I
The ice cream one to be specific, if you want to watch that.
I had not played next to Cassandra. Like I had not ever. I'd been on the same board as her before, but not like a neighbor. And so I was trying to
What's that
kind
like? Sorry, go
yeah.
on.
I
Must
was
be nice
trying
though.
yeah. I was kind of trying to like feel her out and see like what her position on the Mediterranean was. How she like viewed it strategically and how open to cooperation with me she would be. Because like I said, my entire thinking pregame is I want Tunis, but I'm also pretty sure that if I go to Cassandra and I say, "Hey, let's trade Tunis for Naples," if I just say that to her, I am pretty sure that she's gonna think in her head, "Oh no, that's BS. I'm never doing that. That means that he wants to fight me." So I kind of had to just like vaguely try and see if I could figure out what she would be willing to accept. Right? It was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, like the spare fleet you have in like the middle of the Med really helps at least because like if Cassandra is going to attack you, you're going to know about it before she can take anything that you like really care care about kind of.
Yeah.
It's like that dot's gone, but like your main Europe holdings will all have time to like move into position before Cassandra can really get to where you care about.
Yes. My conversation with France was pretty straightforward. I said, "Hey, I'm taking Corsica," and he said, "Okay, just don't do it via Gulf of Leon. Go via Bonifacio," which I did because there's no like I don't want to instantly attack France. That's kind of a bad idea, I think. So I didn't do it.
Yeah.
In talks with Luxon, I'm when I talk to Luxon here, my main goal is to get him to attack the Ottomans because that's just good for me, straight up. Um, but as the first phase went on, Luxon became convinced that there was some sort of coalition against him. This is a while ago, so it's kind of beyond me, like the specifics. I think he thought that like
Actually, reading back
Ottomans.
through the popcorn chat, spectator chat, there actually was like a Russia, Poland, Ottomans
Yes, they had a triple.
triple kind of starting form there. So there was kind of an anti-Austria thing.
Yes, and so Luxon, I know I have spoken to Luxon about Austria before and about Spain, mainly because in one Blitz game, Luxon had been Austria and I had been Spain along with you. So we had talked about it afterwards. So I knew that Luxon thought that Spain should give up Rome and Naples and let Austria out to attack Ottomans, and that he believed that Austria should naturally control these dots. So impressed with him, I'm telling him I agree with him 100%. But then I'm also telling him like, hey, you got to kind of be careful about this whole Ottoman and Poland and France thing. and just trying to see if I can deflect his moves away early on. Because if he doesn't move to Venice or Adriatic Sea right away, if like let's just say Naples, like I go to Ionian Sea and I bounce. If
Yeah,
Luxon is not in either of these things, that's just Rome's just free, and that's pretty nice. I like free centers; those are good. So I'm subtly encouraging Luxon's paranoia while also trying to portray myself as the reliable pro-Austria player. Um, which I
naturally.
don't know if Luxon will ever view me as reliable, despite I am quite reliable when I want to be. Um,
When you want to
but
be,
I
whatever
mean,
that
when it
is.
when it's in my interests, and it definitely is here to be reliable to Austria. So those are my thoughts. Let's see. We'll go to North America next, specifically Ucht and my relations with the North American regionals, which I can abridge decently well because basically the question in North America with regards to me is how are the neutrals going to be distributed? Because Ucht wants to double, but if Ucht doubles, then he is going to need two of Aqua Ala. What is it? Aqua Ala, yes. Hawaii and Aleuts. So, which two will he want? Which two will he get? My conversation with Ushishone is basically me telling him, you can have Aqua Ala, I want Hawaii, and then you can go to Inuit and you can take Aleuts. And Inuit, I don't know, I'm kind of, Inuit, you should go and, I don't know, take Danaina
Do you
and
want you
do like this
to
something.
actually get the 5 dots, or do you just want to like settle for like 4? So I think you in general should just settle for the 4 dots in year one, because taking the fifth will always start a war before builds and just put you in a pretty bad spot.
I tend to agree, but my main priority was just in me getting all the dots I could. Um,
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
and it's like whatever, if Shoshone gets 4, then he gets 4. He gets 5, he gets 5. I just want to have my all my units end up in a center somewhere to give me the maximum flexibility possible. Those are my thoughts. There's
Gotcha.
some complications on the. I don't exactly have a read on the relationship between these three. My early read is that Ute and Athabasca are more friendly to each other than Inuit, but at this stage in the game before moves, it's hard to really say how that works out. So who knows? We'll find out. Um, and I guess this is when I get to my relationships in the Caribbean and my relationships with England and France and you early on, because there was a lot of press being. I can keep this abridged because you'll go into it in detail. I think there was a lot of
Yeah.
press between England, France, and Netherlands, and I was doing a lot of press with all three of them. And the reason is that every single one of us wanted to know the answer to the configuration of this trio of powers. Who is in, and which of these three is the odd man out? Here's that affects my strategy. If England is the odd man out, then I kind of want to be friends with England for a bit at least, because I want England to move all the fleets this way to defend himself, and then I want to either have a buffer state here or take the dots for myself, or maybe both. Like, say if England is fighting France and Netherlands having a bad time, I can go to England. I can say, hey, I support you. I'll keep you around in the Caribbean. I just want Belize. And sometimes, an England who's being attacked by France and Netherlands is much more likely to accept that from Spain than an England who is allied with, like, say, France or Netherlands and attacking the other, because the leverage is much weaker for England. So that's one reason I want to know what England's up to. Another reason is that if say so that's if England's the odd man out. If France is the odd man out, it's an England Netherlands alliance. Then I need to be a bit more concerned about the Caribbean, because England will have an ally. But I don't need to be quite concerned about the Caribbean because the enemy is France. So England will need to move fleets to fight France from here, and that's reachable, right? So if France is the odd man out, then I'm kind of okay, and I can get away with stabbing England, I think. Um, and so that's why I want to know if France is the odd man out.
Yeah, I mean, you could just like attack both and make my life somewhat easier if you want.
Well, speaking of having to fight both, if it's England and France allied attacking Netherlands, then it's kind of an issue for me because England's fleets in the Western Caribbean in an EF don't really get to attack the Dutch. Like maybe Bahamas does by doing this, but that's it. The fleets that are going to be in Baracoa, Jamaica, and maybe Belize have nothing better to do than to fight me. So if I read that there's an Anglo-French alliance, I need to be ready to fight England immediately, and B, I need to do whatever I can to disrupt the cohesiveness of that alliance and to try to encourage England to move and attack France. Because I don't want an EF. It's bad. It's not as bad for me as it is for you, Salt, but it is not very good.
Yeah, no, it's just complete death from my game. For yours, it just makes it really, really hard to win.
Yeah. I like if it's an EF, then either I want them to break up really soon or I want them to stay together for a couple of years to crush you. And then once you're crushed, they will start fighting and will be bidding for my support, is how I think that goes. So
Yeah.
there are choices to make. And that's why I'm doing a lot of press with each of you three to see who the odd man out is. And spoiler alert, the odd man out in the EF changes every 6 to 12 hours. So I don't
Oh, it's so fun,
I
isn't
am
it?
keeping
Aren't you having fun?
you'll get to talk about this a lot more than I will. But I'm keeping track of these three and trying to keep track of who is the odd man out at any given time so I can alter my moves and my diplomacy. While at the same time, everyone else I talk to who asks me, "Hey, what's going on with England, France, and Netherlands?" I tell them that I know who the odd man out is, but I'm not telling anybody who that is, right? I'm just telling everyone, "Hey, I know what's going to happen here. I have a plan for it. I'm good. I know who the odd man out is. It's good for me. I'll be good. There's no problems." I
Yeah.
half of that statement is true. I do typically have a good idea of who the odd man out is based on my press with you and with France and with England. It whether it's good for me or not changes every 6 hours, so it's hard to say really. Um, yes, so that's that clusterfuck. We'll get into that later. In South America, so first things first, relationship with Poland, who has this one dot colony. Poland comes to me and says, "Hey, Spain, just letting you know, I'm going to be walking into Caracas in year one because I want this center so that I can have a Caribbean position." And I go to Poland and I say, "Hey, Poland, I'm probably going to be moving my army like this and my fleet like this and kicking you out of Caracas. So I would recommend you not do that." What I also say to him is that it's not guaranteed that I decide to do that. So if I like my recommendation to Poland is either I prefer to see him go to Barbados so I can just have Caracas and it's dot. It's nice. I like dots. But one of my proposals to Poland is Poland, you should hold year one in New Courland. And here's why. If I like let's just say for example, Aymara agrees that I should get Madeira, then my moves change. Lima goes to Shipibo, then Madeira, and Bogota actually goes south to Japura. And that leaves Poland able to take Caracas. So Poland could just walk in, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a reasonable proposal for Poland to hold if he wants Caracas. I mean, I guess if you don't trust me to say to not bounce
I
you
think
out, then it's
Poland
bad.
probably holds
But
if that happens,
but
but I don't know. As Poland,
but
as Spain at least, I wouldn't tolerate Poland in Caracas for long.
I would tolerate it if I got like the Madeira because then I would be attacking you and I'd want Poland to go down here and help me, basically. That's what's in my head. So,
Yeah.
that's my proposal to Poland. But what I say to Poland is like, hey, if you go to Caracas and I'm not like, getting the dots I want down here, which is unlikely, I'm just gonna kick you out. And there's nothing you can do or say to stop that. I'm just gonna kick you out and I will sit here and stop you from getting that center as long as I can. And his thing is, and what he says is like, well, if you do that, I'm gonna fight you the entire game. I'm like, okay, but that's gonna ruin your game a lot more than it's gonna ruin mine. So have at it, buddy. Have at it. You can imagine how I feel about Poland based on how my tone was talking about him. Maybe you can guess what Poland ended up doing. Um, oh well.
Yeah, we can talk about that after spring moves.
Everyone gets what they deserve. Is all I will say. So the rest of South America, I'm going to start with Guarani actually. And actually, I should name a bunch of other powers while I'm at it. Osseous is Uchishone. Athabasca is what
Ewok.
Ewok. Yeah, it was. I had the E, but I forgot the rest. Ewok. Benji is Inuit. Um, England is Ironside, and
Hmm.
France is Tephra. Tephra was the China from the 1862 recap. Um, Ironside has played England before. I think I did an AAR on B
I think
1.1
Ironside didn't
MEC.
he win the Fog of War game? I think he
Yeah, he
was
did.
France in
Yeah, he
that.
won that too. I think. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So he's
Like
okay.
pretty solid play there.
That's Ironside. Poland is Tasnica, who all I knew is because I have never played next to Tasnica either. So my knowledge of him was like, oh, he's like friendly. He does good press. So I wanted to work with him before he was my neighbor, and then, well, you'll see. Um, yeah, like we said, Austria's Luxon. Ayutthaya is Ezio. Tokugawa is complete Canadian, who I have not played next to or heard very much about before this game, despite having played on the same board as him before. It's just we were far apart every time. So what do you know, right? Um,
Yeah.
that's it for relevant powers for me for now, I guess. So Gorani is Ambrosius, and Ambrosius is I'd say a bit slippery. He does good press, and he's also kind of steady, like slow and steady as a player. Is my opinion of him. Um, but what I hear, and this is gonna get you, what I hear out of or what I hear is coming out of Gorani early on, is that Gorani is going around and telling people immediately into negotiations without you and me talking, Salt. He's already telling people that there is going to be a Spanish-Dutch alliance in this game.
Yeah. I was hearing that from like every single person on the entire board. I don't know if it was Gorani that started the rumors. I think I like dug through the specs chat. I don't even think the spectators knew like where that rumor first like came up. But Gorani did seem to be like one of the people that like either really subscribe to it or just like spread it the most.
I suspect this rumor originated with Gorani based on press with him and with his neighbors. Gorani going around and Ambrosius going around telling people there's going to be a Spanish-Dutch alliance before the game had gotten underway, really, and that colored all the diplomacy in South America because and I think it was dumb for him to do, by the way. I think that's a dumb rumor to spread as Guarani. You don't want that rumor to be spread. And here's why. Because when there's a Spanish Dutch alliance, Aymara's immediate thought is, "Oh, I have to focus north. I have to focus north. I can't do anything to my south." Um Mapuche's immediate thought is I mean, it depends on your Mapuche player. Some Mapuche players are like, "Oh, opportunity, work with Spain, kill Aymara." A lot of Mapuche players are going to be like, "Oh, Spanish Dutch alliance. Aymara is a buffer state. I should focus, uh, you know, out in Australia and maybe on Gorani, depending on how things go." Right. Um,
Yeah.
Portugal's thought and hearing there's a Spanish Netherlands alliance. It really depends on what Portugal wants. I have a hard time. I haven't given Portugal's position too much thought recently, basically. But I don't think it's good for Guarani if Portugal thinks there's a Spanish Dutch alliance because you're just going to be more paranoid. You're going to, and I think Portugal always attacks Guarani anyways, basically. I don't know. It's hard for those two to cooperate, I think, and I don't really see it. Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
I kind of agree with that.
But yes, so Spanish Dutch alliance, it completely stagnates the game in South America if the regionals think there's a Spanish Dutch alliance. Because I just explained it. So what ends up happening? Because we'll see what ends up happening. But what ends up happening in year one press is Aymara from the get go. I'm not sure if this is a result of the rumors of a Spanish Dutch alliance or if this was the Aymara player Tanglewood, who was a winner of the last big game, the Ice Cream Invitational. Tanglewood is not amicable to cooperation in our press. His tone pretty consistently was that of someone who is extremely suspicious of everything I say and do, right? And Every proposal I make, he kind of pretty clearly suspected I had some ulterior motive to create a conspiracy to bring him down together with the Dutch. And it's like, that's not that wasn't it. That
The
wasn't.
most appealing attempt to persuade someone.
Yeah, so I like I explained before the game, working with Aymara was something I wanted to do, but I had a rather unorthodox way to do it, with me having with the border being here. Um, the reason I want the border there, by the way, is because, and I said this directly to Aymara. I said, "Hey, I know it's typical that you get Madeira, I get Japura, Netherlands gets Amazonia. The dots work out that way, and everyone gets one dot. However, if we do it this way, what will happen is you will sit there, we'll all sit here, and one of us will go to the other and say, "Hey, I will support you into that center." And then that person gets kicked out of their center, right? Say it's me,
Mhm.
and then I go to the guy, right, the other guy, and I say, "Hey, I will support you into that center." And it's just a back and forth stab, 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 stab for
Yeah,
years
with
on
like
end.
3 different countries in there just doesn't end well for one of them. It's
And the
always a
reason
2v1.
and the reason I know, and the reason I can think about Aymara like this is because I had played Aymara less than a year ago. And it's just it only works for Aymara to be in Madeira if Spain and Netherlands are players you can manipulate against each other. And if I was Aymara seeing in this game where everyone's a strong player, I would want to stay away from that as much as possible. Right? Like that's my thinking behind this proposal is I think that Aymara should should want to have an alliance, and I think that Aymara's opening should be good. Basically, I think Aymara should aim to have an opening with upside. So I propose to Aymara that this should be his opening, right? Where let me see, you do let me. This should be the opening where you get down there into Huarpe. I think this is the best opening for Aymara at the time. And that's the proposal I make because Aymara still doubles. You get that dot out
Uh-huh.
of Mapuche, and you can get Guarani, for example, to deny access to Buenos Aires and the Falklands. I think it works
That
really
does
well.
work. If you can get him to like warm up to the idea of a year one attack on somebody, I think it's probably good. I don't know if it's like the stock standard best Aymara opening there is. Like best would probably be if like Spain lets you have Madeira, and like Dutch are like fine with it as well. Like Dutch won't like do anything to mess with you year two. Um, Generally, I think it's better to, like avoid dawing someone like year one. But if it's a war with Spain or a war with Mapuche, then war with Mapuche is better for them.
Yes, and but I realize. I mean, I keep pushing this idea through the phase because I think it's really cool and I really wanted to do it. I wanted to, I wanted to have a good demarcation of the border and work with Aymara in the long term. But the way I knew that I was not going to be able to get Aymara to do this was when I was talking to him a bit more, and his proposal was like, "Okay, well, you can have Madeira, but you can only do that if you let me into Galapagos." And that was an immediate like I was like, "Nope, okay, he
Yeah,
doesn't like that's such just I know like center wise it is the same, right? It's a trade of a center for a center, but it
never
is
gonna work with him there.
it is positionally such a different proposition. Like it is such a bad proposition for Spain to allow that, right? Like it's completely untenable because what happens that you have to move a fleet to Colon Ridge as Spain, and then you can't have a stable alliance with Aymara with the centers like that.
Yeah, and
The
they also like work
position,
with like Ute against like the northern half of your
yeah, it's
American territory. Just
the
opens up a whole lot of options
it's
that you don't want Aymar to have.
it's a I think it's a shortfalling that some players have. Maybe this was intentional by Tanglewood trying to get an opening and and whatever. But I don't know how he didn't think I would spot this a mile away. It's a weakness I think some players have, where you look at the centers, you don't think about the position and the long term implications of it. It just doesn't work. It's a non-starter. Now my thinking was just that he was really not interested in this new proposal I had. He wanted to play a traditional Aymara game, where you kind of you take your natural centers and then you see how it goes from there. That was my thinking of what he wanted. This was not an immediate red flag for Aymara wants to attack Spain, because I think that Aymara attacking Spain is a completely dumbass idea. The dumbest thing you can do as Aymara is attack Spain in year one, I think. Um, because you're gonna you're gonna suffer. If Spain is not getting attacked by a bunch of other people on the map, then Spain can just ruin your game immediately by popping down armies and saying, "Nope, I'm gonna fight you the rest of the game."
I think
And
Spain is probably like the second stab you want to make as Aymara, and definitely not the first, because like you get like one Spanish core relatively easily. Like in the initial stab, you can probably grab
like Lima
what's
or
that
Pisa,
dot? Yeah.
one of these two.
You get that dot, and then Spain just has a pretty good defensive line against you, and they have the like time to like move armies south, and then you just can't go further
And
north.
but also, if your biggest worry as Aymara is, hey, the Spanish and the Dutch might be working together, then the last thing you should want to do is to attack Spain right away. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Immediately it happens. It's like what's one of those Greek prophecies where it's like self-fulfilling, you know? Where
Yeah,
like
one of
it's like
those.
the Titan Kronos, who is king of the Titans, ruler of the cosmos. He gets a prophecy, and it says, "One day your children will overthrow you." And so his response to that is to eat his own kids. And then he's all and the reason his kids overthrow him is because they didn't quite like being stuck in his stomach. They weren't a big fan.
I mean,
And
who could have seen that one coming?
yeah, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, you can't you if you're worried about something, you gotta take steps to prevent it. You can't make it come true. Simple as. Um, that's me. That's my 2 cents on that. That was anyways, that was a long discussion. That's my pre-phase press, I think. I talked to Mapuche a bit. It's not very relevant. We both agree to work together with each other, but I have experience with King Red, who is the player in Mapuche, and I don't find him to be a very reliable player. He can say a lot of stuff and then not do it, which is what he did in 1862. He said a lot of stuff about how we were going to be great friends, and then he worked against me basically every phase of the game. So I don't put a lot of faith in him, which is also
Yeah.
why I kind of want Aymara to kill him, because I'm like, yeah, let's force Mapuche to fight Aymara. That's a good idea. I like that. All right,
This
so
is
that's
pretty fun.
that's most of my relevant press. I might have missed some, but like, it's we're a little while into the recording. So Salt, before
Yeah.
before you get to these two powers, what else is going on?
Okay. I guess we can still start in Europe and then get to those two powers last. They'll take up like
Maybe start in
half our
Asia.
time, probably.
Asia,
Yeah, we can start in Asia.
because Europe kind of, oh well,
Yeah, well, Europe's always gonna be a mess. So like generally in Asia, I'm kind of doing standard Dutch moves. I like Tokugawa not going for the Ryukyu Crushers, but at the same time, I know that like there's not really anything I can do to stop them if they go for it. So I'm trying to be extra nice to Tokugawa, but at the same time, I'm like making some appeals to Ming to like maybe do like a fall attack on Toku. Because like the one way to stop the Ryukyu Crusher is if like Ming taps Kyushu. So
yes,
like I'm making some overtures there. So like I'm floating the idea of like supporting Ming to Kyushu. I know Tokugawa goes for the Ryukyu Crusher. It's not gonna work, but that I will get that dot, and then I will be somewhat happy. So I'm trying to work with Ming. I'm trying to be friendly with Toku on the so that they don't decide to go for the attack in general. And I get like decent vibes back, but it's kind of like the same stuff you would be hearing if they were gonna go for the attack or not. So it's like something like confirming anything. So good vibes there, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
The one thing I do know is that like Ming is having some troubles with the Ayutthaya to their south. Both of them kind of tell me that like Ming is insisting on bouncing Ayu in Ava, which is a move I like fed to Ming that they should do. So I'm pretty I take like partial responsibility for that, but I do think it's like somewhat of a good move for Ming to make. I know Ezio's like pretty unhappy that Ming are like in choosing to bounce him instead of like the Muggles in Bomo. Um, Other than that, I'm trying to stay friendly with both Ayu and Muggles. I'm like trying to secure Andaman uh islands at least for like this year. But like the idea behind that is if I can secure for this year, then I can reinforce this area pretty easily to where nobody can like dislodge me that easily. So if I'm trying to get like Muggles to go somewhere else, I'm trying to get Ayu to go for like Pegu with their fleet.
Mhm.
So generally I get Ayu to agree on like this really interesting deal where like I send my army up to that dot and like fall here. It's like the army would be in the like that. And like
Yes.
they would take it in year 2. And the way that would work is like I would convoy the army to like Muggles and like fight them there.
Like
And
something
then
like
me and
this.
Ayutthaya could work together on that. And like that would be a way for us to like stay allied, kind of. I only like 50% believe this deal is going to like ever work in the first place, but those are the words that need to come out of my mouth for Ayatai to be okay with me having that dot and for me to like get the extra dot to like build with.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to them. Builds are good, and I want builds. So that's what I say.
Huzzah.
Yeah. I'm trying to do this thing with Muggles, and like I get word from them that they'll let me have the dot as well. So like Muggles won't go for it either. At least that's what they're telling me.
Mhm.
It's like I'm pretty happy with how that one went for me. Um, Rest of Indonesia is pretty simple. Portugal moves away from me, or like agrees to move away from me. But like I don't think they'd ever attack me in O1 anyways.
Pretty bad idea
Um,
generally.
yeah, I think their plan is to go for Danny to grab the. No, not Danny. We work out a deal to where I would get Danny, and they would go for Australia, and that would kind of be like the border going forward. And then that way I can have you in Cotabato without like sacrificing builds.
Yeah.
And that kind of like leads to my overall strategy of like having you be a sort of buffer against Ayutthaya from one direction and having Portugal like solely focus on fighting Mapuche in the future. And then I can like work out that situation how I see fit whenever fights start breaking out.
Yes.
So I'm pretty happy with how that one worked out. Press there generally went my way. We can go to Africa next.
In we go.
So like they're like the immediate thing that happens here is that like Azeron reaches out to me and starts like forming this coalition against Congo. And I just immediately say yes to that. I would love an early coalition against Congo. Yes, please. So we both like try to work to get Abyssinia on board with us. and like it's like kind of like my job to like pull in Portugal as well. Like me and Azure are like both working on these two powers. Like just get like a 4v1 against Congo early and just take them out just immediately.
Yes, kill.
It's like I'm generally happy with that. The plan we kind of come up with is that I would go to like Luongo turn 1 in spring, and then that would kind of we were like we're taking like Mandar to like Sangha from Congo, like Pango to Banda. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And then like we could like threaten my army to like dot Mabanza, and then what would actually happen would be me going to Mandara with like support from Darfur.
Oh yeah, because
So that's kind of the plan that we came up with. And then like Azeron and Abyssinia would like work together on like this on like the east on towards the land. Portugal would like threaten them from the south. I would come in from like the coast, and we'd all have a grand time just beating up Congo. We'd all get dots. Everybody's happy, and we're all having a great time. Abyssinia seems somewhat receptive to this. They're not like it's not like the immediate like yes, let's do this from them. Mostly because like they don't get a whole lot of dots. Like the way I try to get them in is like by promising them Mandara year 2,
Mhm.
same as I did with like Ayutthaya. So like I promise that like if they support me in this year, I'll still get the build, and like I'll transfer that to the next year. Like I'll just take like the coastal dots off of Congo, like that'll be my share out of this. And I think they get promised Banda out of this as well. So like that's kind of what their share is going to be. And like I get the impression that that like tided them over, and like that kind of secures their involvement. And Portugal also seems pretty in. So like I think Portugal needed any extra encouragement from that. So like anti-Congo looks pretty good. Mark my words on that, and we'll circle
yes,
back to them next year.
we shall see.
um, Other notable things. Ottomans reached out relatively early. The way I'm playing Africa here, I don't really see Ottomans as like my real. I don't see Ottomans as like a real power I need to be like concerned about. We do technically border, like they'll be in I'll be in a House of States. They'll have the dot there, but I don't see Ottomans as like a real threat to me. I think that generally Timbuktu will be like under threat from like the west here, and that they'll be dealing with like the colonial drama there. They won't have time to like really come south to attack me. And if they built up a solid position there, I'll have plenty of warning beforehand to like be prepared for that. So I generally just want to like chill with the Ottomans and like go our separate ways here. Um, I do get early word from Cass that there is a EF in like spring '01. I think this is like day 1 of press, something like that. I do get word from her that there's an EF, which we'll talk about later, but
Although, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that she'd be a reliable source of that information.
yeah, I don't I don't believe her on this. It's contradictory to most of the other press I've been getting, and I don't see why she would be in on the EFN show here. Like England and France both don't really have much of a reason to talk to her.
The only reason France would talk to her is like to coordinate against me if they were going to do that, but that's pretty crazy for France to do in year 1.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna like loop in Cass on a plan to kill Dutch in '01, especially in spring '01. It just doesn't really make sense. It's like either this is like secondhand or like third hand information she's getting, or she's just lying because she wants me to go after Cormantan, Britain.
Hmm. Nope.
I'm not really sure which it is. I don't really care, but I don't call her out on it either. Um,
Sure
If
thing,
it's
Cass. I
true,
believe you.
yeah. I don't know. I don't have great experiences with Cass, to be fair, but I don't see like why she would lie to me about this, but I also don't see why she would know either. So it's just like a very confusing thing to hear,
Mhm.
and kind of like gets me a little bit suspicious of her. Um, I think that's Africa. We can go to South America next. 2 out of 5 continents.
Yep.
South America is somewhat interesting. The first thing I do is like I establish like a pretty I establish a deal with Portugal, which is like the standard split. Like they'll go after their natural dots, I'll go after mine, and then they'll just not mess with each other. Portugal seemed happy to do that. I don't get the impression they're going to attack me in the first year, so off to a great start there. I'm looking at like grabbing Belize and Amazonia off of South America. That leaves the Marsstad fleet free to do whatever I want. It's like it becomes like a pretty big question between like Congo, France, and like Portugal of like where that fleet's going.
Yeah.
So like France obviously doesn't want me to go to Cape Co because they have like some kind of deal going with Portugal that like France will grab that, and Portugal just like let them have it. They won't mess with them. And I tell Congo they can have Saint um, Helena.
Yeah.
So like Ageron wants me to bounce that. Um, France just doesn't want me to go to Cape. But like Congo's also worried if I go to like Angola Basin, like mess with them. And I'm just like not telling anybody where that fleet's going. Mostly because like I don't know yet, but like I have 2 good options from my eyes. The first one is to go to Gold Coast, and that's mostly to secure Sao Tome against Congo here and grab that fleet before Congo gets a real chance for it.
Mhm.
I think that's generally a good line because Congo just won't ask for that dodge, and therefore they won't have like the position against my colony there. Because if Congo is in Sao Tome, then my colony in Africa is just pretty screwed. It's
For
very
sure.
hard to defend that. They have that kind of angle on me. So I kind of just want to like secure that before Congo gets a chance, and then that way my colony is in like a nice little bubble, and I have like a safe spear to like go in and out of, and I can like operate safely there. And I also like don't necessarily have to build fleets out of that colony either when it comes to winters. Like I can build 2 armies in there instead, and that gives me a lot more room in that region to kind of do what I need to. And the anti-Congo coalition is real. I also just want an extra fleet in there just in general. So like it could help a lot. That's my first option. The other option is like send it to the Caribbean to like uh either Guyana Current or like Leeward Sea.
Yeah.
Guyana Current if I'm like hard anti-France or like anti-Britain. Um, like my general thinking here is that like if you go to winter, I'm gonna have 2 fleets here. England's going to have 2 fleets here. France will have 2 fleets on their end. So it's pretty even for everybody. But if I have a 3rd fleet in this area here, then I look like a lot harder target to attack. And like actually, and like the dynamics changes to where like instead of me having just like support hold Puerto Rico and Saint Martin, I can actually just like if I really want to be mean to Britain, I could just take that in spring and just start going really, really hard against Britain. And then that way, even if I like wasn't anti-Britain and like year one, which we'll get to this after everything else is done, but like having that extra fleet there and like looking like a harder target to attack and like looking like I have a better position against England that England has on me, that shifts the board state quite a bit in my favor just overall, because then like EF looks less likely to work or like less likely to go smoothly for England and France. I would kind of like terrify England, so where England either like seems like a pretty weak power, or like England is like feels like they have to appease me and work with me, or I will just like kill their colony here. And like the effects that'll have for me in like North America or Europe can be greater than what this one fleet is like actually worth. And like to France, this looks like that England is super weak. I have such a great position against England. Um, I'm obviously I have a better position here against Britain than Britain has against me. So it's better for France to ally with me for an easier kill on a Britain than it would be just kill me, especially because these three fleets mean that my position in the Caribbean is going to be pretty difficult to break.
Yes.
So that's kind of the thoughts there. I'm kind of curious which one you think is better. Like, what would you do in this spot?
Um, let's see. I might play the Dutch, but I will give an opinion. Let's see. What opinion will I give? It really depends on the EF dynamic. I think the problem with Leeward Sea is that you don't really have much better leverage because England could just put a fleet in Sargasso Sea. Um, and then you get murdered. Like I think then it's maybe more tempting for France to fight you than it would be originally because what France can
I could
do,
take
France can uncontested.
Guadeloupe from England before they get that fleet there, though.
Well, yes, but
It
France
wouldn't help them that
uncontested.
much.
Well, you still get Guadeloupe for the moment. But what happens then
Yeah,
is England retreats here, and but they have a fleet there, and France gets two next to you, and then you lose Puerto Rico and Guadeloupe back because all your fleets are getting cut. Um, so I'm not like I see the power, but I'm not sure this is a much better line if your concern is France siding with England because it actually makes France's position more powerful by making England more dependent on them.
yeah.
So
I can see it both ways. I don't think it'll work if my goal is like make England work with me, because it's pretty much like just a knife at their neck here. So I don't think this will make a lot of gains. Like if I want to work with them, but I do think it'll give the EF pause in that it's just like another thing in the way of them working together, because I just look a little bit more powerful if I'm fighting both of them. Um, I make the final decision in like fall here, so we'll talk about it more then. But that's kind of my thoughts with that fleet there. It's like kind of like a free agent that I could send to one of my other areas to reinforce as I need. Um,
okay,
Other than that, in South America, the main thing is like the you and Aymar do not like each other at all. I've been here from like both of you. So like Aymara wants my help against Spain. Spain wants my help against Aymara, and that is like music to my ears. That's exactly the situation that I wanted. I don't even have to do anything to like make that stab happen. You two are just at war without me really having to do anything to cause it, which is just pretty much the optimal situation to happen to me. So I'm pretty happy to just take like my two dots and let that war happen. I do remember you offering me support to Madeira in fall here in exchange for, I don't know if it was like Cotabato or something, but it was exchange for something. Um,
I just
and that
wanted
just screamed trap to me.
I just wanted Amari dead.
Yeah, that just screamed trap in my mind. I did not think me and Madeira in '01 was going to end up well for me, because I see like a Spanish army in Japura and like obviously some like army builds and like Keto or something, and I just think Madeira dies like immediately. So I'm not super keen on having that army there. I just think it like stretches my position a little bit too much. So I don't love that idea, at least. I think we ended up agreeing to where like you would just take that dot and Japura would be the one that was left open, I
I don't
think.
think so because I wanted dots. So
It might have been, I don't remember how fault or not. It might have been that you just took both.
no, because Imara went for Madeira
Oh, right. Yeah. So just end up
amongst
with
other things.
yeah. But
Yep.
I do remember that I did not want to be there, and I had to say no when you offered me that. I didn't trust that very very much. I did hear like this same rumors that like the two of us would ally and like take over the board. I was hearing from like pretty much every power I was talking to, which is I didn't put like that much stock in it. I thought most people would just kind of like dismiss that as early speculation and not much more.
That's what it pretty
I
clearly
don't know.
was.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have like any early plans to work together, but it did kind of like force us together a little bit, because what happens is like if that rumor's spreading around, then Imara and Portugal to a certain level don't really trust what I'm saying to them as much. So the only person that like will really take me uh seriously is Spain. So like obviously I'm gonna work more closely with Spain than like my other neighbors in the area. So it did kind of force us together a little bit, especially with Aymar just being intent on attacking you.
It really limited my options
Yeah. I
significantly.
don't think it did too much damage to me, but it was annoying to deal with. But I think Poland was another power that like really put a lot of like really like believed that going into the first year too.
Poland also helped cause it, so I don't have too much sympathy for them.
Yeah, that was a situation for sure.
Yes.
I think that's South America. We
So
can talk about EF now.
yeah, Europe and EF.
So Tefra and Ironsides are two players I don't have much experience with going into this game. I played with Tefra a little bit before, but it's always been like late game positions where we haven't started out as neighbors. Like we've kind of were like two somewhat powerful countries that like happen to share a border in like the final 2 years or something like that. I played one game with the Ironsides before, but we just kind of death ward the whole time. Like
That's good.
it was great omen for coming in. But like I don't have like a ton of knowledge on either of them besides knowing that they're like relatively good players going into this. Me and Tefra hit it off a lot better than me and Ironsides, though. I think it's like me and Tefra like immediately start going into a lot of plans, like just like generally around the board, like mostly anti-Britain. And I'm certain that Tefra has been doing the same thing with like England, like attack me. It's just what any decent player does. But like even still, these are like pretty like in-depth plans. Like a convoy to London gets thrown out there by Tefra,
The classic.
but like Ironsides like bounces the channel. It's like that gets coordinated. It's like as it should be, but that gets thrown out. Um, it's like we were kind of like planning like a fall attack where like I think Tefra threw the idea like me like sending the army to Ghent and then convoying that to Britain in year 2. Like that seems somewhat agreeable. But like generally the plan is just like build a bunch of fleets and take out Britain and do something there. North America is kind of more of the same, where we're just going to send a bunch of armies at England and kill them. We don't have like specific tactics worked out because it's year one. We're just going to grab dots.
Yeah.
And like this attack is obviously a year two attack, but there is generally a lot more anti-English spreading around the board than there is like anti-France. So I think like the major thing that swung this was that me and France were doing a lot more press than Britain was, just generally. Like Britain's press was good, but it came somewhat late. They weren't. England wasn't around at the beginning of the game. I think there was like a few hours before they started doing press.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, and me and Tefra just did a lot more press with everyone around. So I think the major thing that swung this into like what looked like me and France versus Britain, at least for the first year, was that we heard from Portugal that Portugal wasn't very keen on working together with Britain. And I think, yeah, you also seem to have a lot of like anti-English. You seem to want to go after England in the Caribbean,
I want
which
England
checks out
attacked.
because
I want England to be attacked, and all my press to not all my press, but a lot of my press is just saying whatever I think will make that happen.
yeah, it's like that kind of just like spread around, and like we kind of just like compare notes, and it looks like 4 out of 5 colonials, the 5th colonial being Britain, like all pretty much every colonial wants to attack Britain. So obviously, it would be kind of dumb of us to not join that. So that kind of like cemented that alliance at least for like that first year. It's year one, it's like nothing would really happen, but it does mean that I'm feeling pretty confident about France as like my long-term ally here, and that I'm confident that this is that there isn't a EF that's going to form, at least in the first year. So like I'm feeling that my game won't just like immediately explode next
Was
year.
that was that in the first was that the case for the entire duration of pre-moves press, or was that for about one day and then did things start changing?
Things started changing after fall, I
Oh,
think.
okay. I
Up
thought
until like fall moves came out, that it was like pretty solidly all of us are going to work together against Britain, and that didn't really change until the fall moves. And we'll talk about that change when that happens. Like I am not hearing that there is any EF. I'm feeling solid against France. I think France feels solid against me. I don't think that England like really knows what's up either. I think they got like the general idea that maybe Portugal wasn't to be trusted, but I don't think England really knew that I was against him either. And I wasn't telling them about France. Obviously, I'm trying to like set England against like France somewhat, but I don't think England got the impression that me and France were allied, which means that Teffer didn't like leak things. So I was feeling pretty confident about this. I think that was true looking at like some of the comms in the spectators chat, that this was like a genuine me and France alliance for like the entire press of the first year.
Mhm.
But of course, it's year one, so like nothing really happens from that. We just grab our dots and we make plans for year two, and so no real moves get made against Britain as like a result of this, but it does mean I'm feeling pretty confident going forward. The only other thing is that, I guess a few things. Sweden, I saw some good like early comms with.
Sweden is
We kind of get like
KMP,
a,
who was Colombia in the 1862 game.
yeah, pretty solid player. I kind of like loop them in again about anti Britain. Like they seem pretty receptive to the idea, and like I kind of float anti-Poland to them. Like they tell me it depends more on like how Austria is feeling, but like generally, I think Austria is kind of more worried about Poland than like most of their other neighbors.
Mhm.
So like Austria kind of wants to work with me against that. Sweden seems somewhat interested. So I like the idea of like pushing the army into northern Germany and seeing if I can like rat my way to like a few dots there. But like all the colonials like spreading around anti-Britain press kind of leads to the to Sweden like kind of falling towards that alliance as well. So like I think Sweden is pretty anti-Britain just because they think that they'll get some free dots from that when the time comes.
And everyone loves
Just
free dots.
yeah, I mean, when you have like four separate colonials all like seeming that they want to attack the other one, then like it just becomes like a
Feeding
uh
frenzy.
yeah, like so it's like Sweden's like says sure. And like this is all like press that I like received myself, and like France has been getting the same vibes. I talked to you about it. You've been getting similar stuff. Like it seems real. Um, and North America also seems pretty okay-ish. I get the sense that Inuit and Athabasca are like working together, which is kind of good for me, kind of not. Good for me in the way that like they're obviously gonna be pointed towards France and Britain. Bad for me in the way that if they realize what's going on, they might ally together against that, and then I die as a result. So I'm trying to get. I want them to attack France and Britain, but I don't want them to do so in a way that like makes it so obvious that like France and England need to work together immediately to like to defend that.
Yeah, because the problem is that if there's like a regional triple in North America, for example, England and France
Hmm.
basically have to set aside their differences and work together, which is really bad for you.
Yeah, and that means dead Dutch. It's a pretty tight rope to walk, and I didn't have great press with either of those two players. So I wasn't like entirely sure how the tactics would shake out there, but it is definitely something I was keeping a eye on in press,
Mm.
and I think that's everything I need to cover.
All right, so I set the over under at 90 minutes. You took the under. We are 17 minutes over.
Oh my god! I thought
So
we were for sure get under.
you got to give me 2 centers at our next game, Salt.
Sure,
It'll be reparations for
can
the
take
two
them
you
off my
cost me.
cold dead hands.
All right. So moves year one. Boom. I guess let's go Asia westwards. I think we can just kind of discuss our moves in the same goings on. I guess if that
Yeah.
works. So for me, this is my plan. Japan specifically said he was going for Bonin Islands and asked me not to go to Philippine Sea, so I did it because if Japan
Yeah.
was not going to murder you, then I don't want to be his enemy yet.
Yeah, I don't love seeing this from Japan because it does mean that he can just take Ryukyu from me. But he is telling me he's gonna go for Bonin, and you can't bounce him from that. So I'm feeling relatively confident that he won't do it.
Hmm.
Ming stabbing Ching though means that like if he is going for the Crusher, then I can't get any like aid in that. So if he does stab me, then that colony is just completely dead.
Yeah. All right. Then Indonesia.
That one according to plan for me. Bugle's going to Bay of Bengal less so. I didn't love that.
Hmm.
I tried pushing them to go to get open like anti-Britain like immediately, but they did tell me that I could have Andaman, so I'm kind of hopeful they'll just go to like Andra Coast and fall and do something there.
One
But
can
I
hope.
wasn't super happy about seeing that.
All right. Let's see. Notable moves otherwise normal, pretty normal. As we go east to west, Russia opens south. This seems pretty regular to me.
Yeah, somewhat standard.
Somewhat.
Novgorod to Moscow is a little weird, but the rest of it makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Africa. We'll go Africa, then we'll go north.
Luongo bounce is the interesting thing that happens here. It's like I opened anti-Congo. I did not tell Congo I was going here. This was not a coordinated bounce at all. It's like either Congo knew I was going to go after them here, or like they also got the idea to like attack me. So that's an interesting situation, but it works out better for me than it works out for them because like I can still grab a dot with the army
Yeah.
and they can't.
It's a win.
Yeah.
All right. Then north we go. Yeah, both Ottomans and I violate our like agreements. Ottomans tell me that she is going to do this and attack Luxon. I don't trust her too much, so I go to Ionian Sea anyways. And would you look
Makes
at that?
sense.
It was a good idea to do that. Then otherwise, I
Who would have
open.
thought?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Otherwise, I open pretty anti-Ottoman. Because like I said, I think Tunis is key to the position here, and that you got to have it one way or another. The upside for me is that Luxon definitely believed there was a coalition after him, and so he opened not to Venice or to Adriatic Sea. So I just
Yeah, I remember
get Rome.
Split being a
Yeah,
he broke a deal with Cass
yeah,
over
Cass
that.
really didn't like this deal being broken because she thought that she could hold here and then take it and fall. I am not convinced, or I'm not aware why she would think this unit holding is ever a good idea. Like, because
I remember that being the deal that they came to. But like Luxon was like very suspicious of like a Poland Ottoman alliance against him. Like Poland supporting themselves to Ruthenia kind of lends a lot of weight to that.
yes, and holding here as Ottomans is like the one way that you just have a bad position immediately in the Balkans. Because what if Luxon did this instead? I mean,
Yeah.
you're saved by me bouncing you out of Ionian, but like let's just say, for example, that I kept to my deal. Then that's just Sarajevo gone immediately.
Yeah, like that's the one way that you lose that dot.
Yeah, so I don't like it. But that's me. Yeah, we had a lot of talking. I decided that I didn't really want to stick to our deal. Funny thing, actually, I was debating between bouncing her away from Luxon or going to Ione for maximum personal gain. I was somewhat busy around the deadline, and this was my first order, and I had wanted to change it to this, but I didn't change it in time, and orders went through before then,
Oh,
and I just
seems to have worked out.
didn't mention that one to any other players. I'll tell you that much.
Nice,
We just kept that one on the down low.
as you do.
Yeah. Otherwise, this opening is about what I expected. I mean, I was hoping Ottomans would go like there, and then I would just get this position for free. But
Yeah,
I mean,
Shirky
it's
Banks is like pretty anti-Spain.
yeah, like this makes me feel very vindicated opening anti-Ottomans. And in press, I will say after this in press, Cassandra refused to take any responsibility for this. She tried to completely pin the blame on me for this whole for both of us going back on the agreement. We both went back on the agreement. And she
Yeah.
decided that she had no part in this. And I was like, whatever. I don't like
That lines up with my experience with her.
it. Yeah, I mean, when I stab, I'm honest. I was like, yeah, I mean, I broke the deal, but so did you. So let's not pretend that we're both
I mean,
in.
yeah,
It's not like
you
it's not
both attacked each other.
it's not like I'm
Hard
Satan and
to.
you're Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, Portugal moves away. I actually probably could have gotten away with stabbing Portugal off, like, on the spot here. I didn't think about it at all at the time, but if I had known some of what Portugal was going to be doing in the fall, which you'll see, then I would have heavily
You
considered.
get the they can go for no, you get the capital for free if you went for
I
it,
mean, yeah,
but
you just like here, but then also one of the
yeah.
things you can do is you can do this with Canaries, um,
Oh, true.
and then you force Portugal to, I don't know, have a 50-50. I think you go here because Portugal probably doesn't cover, but there are multiple options in that position. And
Yeah,
then,
you
but the
have some
thing is,
options.
stabbing Portugal does require that you don't commit anti-Ottomans because you want to have Valencia go take Tangier for your builds in the future. Um, it's a whole thing, but it's a line I would have
Yeah, you
considered,
can't do both.
but I didn't do it here. Your Europe seems like something happened.
That's
The
standard.
army, the army went east and the fleet went south.
Yeah, I see it happen both ways. I wanted the fleet in Ghent to support France to the channel
Yeah,
in fall.
and then you get another fleet here. You support that out, and you're pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, across the ocean we go. Let's go south to north. Wait, actually, we got to analyze other positions.
Uh,
Pretty standard
hmm.
for the north, at least, except for
Yeah, nothing.
Krakow not moving. That's not standard.
No, but it still works.
Yeah, Poland is pocketing
I'm like
Königsberg.
Königsberg is a pocket, and no Baltic bounce either.
Yeah, and Poland got Ochakiv as well.
Yeah, they'll keep it too.
This unit hold. That's another reason this unit holding is a bad idea because like
Yeah, usually Ottomans get both of those. Like you could have just sent Smyrna up that way. I don't know why you sent Smyrna to Taurus.
yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure Ottomans can afford to sacrifice a couple of builds for positioning. There's not going to be any issues with that.
Sacrifice a lot more than that.
Mm.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll work out great.
no problem. So we go to the actually, yeah, Africa. No, we already started.
Let's
We talked
see.
about that.
Yeah, I see
The
America.
Americas. All right, South America first. This is. I'm gonna go south. We're gonna talk about this in a second. This is pretty typical from Guarani. You just get dots. Pretty typical from Mapuche. Although this being the move is like, I don't know. I guess you're hedging against this move, but I don't know why you would hedge by moving there when you move here and then organize a bounce.
Feels
Right. That
yeah,
feels subpar.
a choice.
We go north and we'll see Aymara opened entirely anti-Spain. Like, this is the most hostile opening Aymara can make
Yeah.
to Spain.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Now,
that is I did encourage that a little bit. I didn't like work out exact tactics with them, but I did subtly push them, maybe not so subtly push them towards anti-Spain here,
well,
but they were already like committed to it.
I can understand you pushing that. I can't understand them doing it because
No, it's a terrible
there's no.
option for them.
Yeah, it's like the worst opening you have is Aymara. You just immediately attack a colonial who will have a lot of builds no matter what you do and a lot of options for where to put those builds. You don't want to be a target. But Tanglewood stands
No,
up and he paints the target directly on his back. Bright red.
he volunteered for us.
Yes.
He drew the fire.
He drew the fire. That's a good way of putting it.
Human shield.
Yes. As we go north, we'll see Poland decided to move to Caracas and just sack a build for no reason. There's no gain from sacking a build here.
No, that was.
I,
I honestly think this not at all what you should do as Poland. If
it,
Spain says they're taking Caracas, then you just go the other way
and then
for a
you attack
build.
and then you attack them in year 2 when you have
Yeah,
a build there.
yeah, like when you have an actual like
And you can
base built up.
but not only can you
It's
attack
just
them if you want, you
weird.
also have other options for what to do with your fleets.
It's crazy.
Optionality. You're telling me that we can do you're telling me that we can wait and see and not just immediately hard commit to a death war with someone for the entire game? Oh my god. I didn't know we could do that.
Who would have thought?
Aymara clearly didn't know you could do that. That's news to him. He's like, "Wait, I thought you just had to pick who you attacked and do it right away." But turns out freedom of action. wonderful thing. We go to North America. This is about what I expected to happen as an opening. Like, there's not much to read here. I guess it's kind of annoying that Uchishone goes here instead of here, or instead of here, but it does not make that much difference, to be entirely honest.
Yeah.
The only difference is that if I betrayed him and went for this dot, but didn't force it for some reason, that he'd be in position to go down there or something. Or if I did force it, I guess. Such is life. We see that this is a pretty typical Athapasca opening. Nobody in North America really hard committing to anything yet. That's about it. There's a bounce here. I don't get it, but oh well.
That was coordinated, as far as
Yes.
I know.
Oh yeah, well, it would have been coordinated.
Odd.
It's just like I don't get why France
Just
would
odd.
do it specifically. You make yourself more vulnerable against the Dutch. Like the Dutch could bounce you here or something, but I guess he's confident that you're not going to do that. So
I
there you
know
go.
some players, Luxon specifically, rates the bounce and fall. I don't think it's a great idea to like start a war with France for 0 dots over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I technically could do that if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. It's possible.
It's certainly a option that I have.
Yes. Otherwise, this is stock standard Caribbean opening. You get a bounce. You get the typical distribution of centers set up for fall. Not much to talk about.
No. Actually, there's a Ute opening south of the with both their fleets. Is that something that you were aware of?
This is not too big of a surprise to me because I'm under. Well, now Uchishone has a choice. Either bounce me or bounce Inuit. Who do you want to make an enemy of? Well, normally, under normal circumstances, you would make the enemy of Inuit, I think, rather than Spain. But 2 people are kamikazing Spain in South America. Like, they have no fuel. There's no way back home. There's no way to survive. It's just, Aymara especially. It's just he's in the plane and he's flying towards the towers, man. And there's no landing gear. He's going for it. Poland, it depends.
It's rough. If I were you here, I wouldn't bounce it either. I would just wait to make an attack when I have the proper units for it in next year. Like if you bounce Alutes, then you might not have support against Athapasca when you really need it. Like if they're pressing south, and if you need the support there, you won't have it. Whereas if you go against Spain, then like Spain will build like 2 more armies, and then any push you might have had to the south is just gone. So I don't like bouncing either.
All right.
That's just me though.
So any important press between spring and fall? Because there were no surprises here for me, except I had to press with Ottomans a bit. Like I said, she was not very happy with me, and I was like, this is about what I expected.
Yeah, I guess like there are 2 like kind of interesting pieces of press I did. Mughals were like the first one. They like right after spring moves went through, they like immediately started pushing for me to use the Ceylon fleet, the one that's now in INL, to like go and like, oh, you should dot France, or you should go to Seychelles, and you should go do that. And so they wanted me to not push Sumatra up to Andaman, and like my initial plan was just push that army up, then backfill Sumatra. And I told Mughals about this plan. Like I like Mughals knew I was gonna do this, and like said they were fine with me having the army there, like having both of those dots.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phase goes through, and like it's a complete like cone shit from them. They're like desperately trying to get me to go anywhere else with Ceylon. I'm like, I hate to say it, but like I'm not gonna just randomly dot France here, because that affects my strategy everywhere. Like as I said before, with England looking like the odd man out in every colonial alliance there is. Like nobody wants to work with them. Everyone's like just dogpiling them from what I know at this point. It doesn't make sense for me to start a war with France and position myself with Britain. So like reunion's out, and I need Azeron to work with me against Congo. Nobody's really committed against Congo just yet. I'm still like relatively confident about this plan. But like it's mostly like a year two thing from like everyone else. Like I still need Azeron happy with me, so I don't want to go to Seychelles. Plus, there's just generally no way that I keep that dot, so it's just
Yeah,
not really worth it.
this is a dumb idea. This is just Mughals trying to.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty obvious what mules are doing. So like I spend like pretty much the entire phase trying to get them to not go for it and go to like Andorra Coast here. Like the entire board's against Britain, so I'm just telling them like everyone's gonna stab England next year. So if you position yourself for that too, you know, and get that area pretty relatively quickly, and like Portugal stab England, it'll be a great time for you. And my army is going to go north no matter what. So you either bounce me or you like position yourself against Britain.
Yeah.
And like eventually, after like 3 pings, like they eventually like agree to not bounce that. Um, the other thing is Congo. Again, this bounce was not planned. We both like attacked the other here. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure like what caused Congo to do this. Like, either they like just tried to like attack me on their own, or like maybe like the Ottomans pushed them towards it. I know there was some press going on between them and Cass. I had never like confirmed anything, but like I that's like my other theory. Like maybe the Ottomans like pushed them to do this and like fed them. Like I think maybe like Ottomans like told Congo that I would stab them, which Cass did it. Like I was going to do that, to be fair, but she didn't know that. So you know,
Mm.
like, oh, you should like preempt the stab and stab Dutch first or something like that. Um, but what I managed to do, I managed to convince Congo that I what I say is like, oh, I thought by DM like we agreed to a DMZ this area like spring before moves went through. It's like, oh, by DMZing this space, I thought you meant that we were going
The
to
bounce.
bounce there. And I guess we just didn't like clarify that part. Oh no. So that's kind of and they actually like believed that too. I like we had like a conversation about that. They actually like walked away believing that. So I was pretty happy with myself there.
Uniquely
Uh,
talented.
it's so dumb. They should not have believed me at all. I was like, I was lying that entire time, but they did believe me on that, so which was pretty great. I
Well,
did
either
not
they
think
believed you or
that
they
that would
pretended to
come
believe
through.
you, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I got the impression that they believed me. There's a chance that they could have been lying. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. So like obviously the plan where I would go to like Mandara is like out. That can't happen anymore. Abyssinia doesn't want to go anti-Congo just yet, so they won't bounce Mandara, though I'm trying to get them to, but I don't know, it's kind of sensible that they want to wait for year two,
Mm.
though I'm not like super happy with it. Um, I also don't like Azeron not going to Bunyoro in spring. Um, but like surely that this is fine, right? You know, surely nothing bad will happen. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's like the two major things. I think everything else is like a continuation of spring. I'm still confident in allying with France against Britain. I haven't heard a lot to the contrary, and it still seems that like everyone else on the board is pretty happy to attack Britain here. So I'm feeling pretty good.
All right. And so it goes.
And so it goes.
Goes to fall.
Anything notable on your end?
Not really. Like everything, this is mostly as I expected. With the Aymara attacks me, and I go to my request to Aymara was basically, hey, if you take Lima, I'm gonna fight you for the rest of the game. So don't do it. Up to you whether you
Yep.
want to do that or not. I don't expect that to work. I'm not planning to try to bounce him because he has options for this or this. And if I get this wrong, I lose on the spot, and I can't be annoying to him for the rest of the game. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go for dots.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and with the South Atlantic fleet I decided to move that towards Congo. So I'm gonna go and get Sao Tome in year 2 with that fleet. I'm
Okay.
feeling pretty confident with about France being on my side here, so I don't feel like I need that fleet over to mess with that. So I'm pretty confident moving it against Congo here.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, that's me.
Huzzah! Fall moves. All right. So Asia first, I guess. We take centers.
Yep, we like dots.
Yep. Dot. C dot. Take dot.
Ryukyu does not get crushed, so I am happy.
Good stuff. Yeah, I just get my dots. You get your dots. 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 Mapuche gets their dots.
No bounce from mules makes me happy.
Good stuff. We go to Africa. We'll see everyone's getting dots. Congo is making an enemy of Ajuran.
Love to see that.
And they decide to really maintain that DMZ.
Yeah, I didn't love seeing that. This will be a trend with Congo. You know, we say one thing, then we do another thing. Yeah, I didn't take Mindara though, which was surprising to me.
Yeah, they'd bounce Ajuran out of a build instead, which
I
feels
mean,
like a
I
bad
will
idea.
definitely take that. I prefer that to them taking Mandar, to be fair, but I would prefer they didn't move to Luongo. The way they like sold it to me was like a bunch of people told them I was gonna go towards Saint Helena and bounce them out. So they like felt the need to do that. I don't know how much I believe that. But that's kind of that's the excuse that they gave me at least.
Mm-hmm. All right, we go up. So what we'll see, I think it's important to summarize the Ottomans' year here, is they decide. The way I move my units is I want an army in Africa, but I don't want to risk not getting. Or I want to
Yeah,
take
you
a
want to
chance on
risk the army not being
Tunis.
convoyed.
Yeah, I want to make sure the army is convoyed while still taking a shot at Tunis. So I do it like this. Upside of this is that I can cover Chamba if they put an army down in Tripoli as well, while still having this
Yeah.
outpost to push fleets forward. I decide to go Bonifacio to Sardinia with the idea that I'm probably more able to eat a build loss than the Ottomans are. And I also really don't want the Ottomans in Sardinia because, say, I go safe for Baleares or Corse, then a fleet here is like, that is not fun. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, you still secure a course in spring, and like France can't really do a whole lot
Exactly.
about that. I like it.
Yeah, it's all well and good. Side note: Ottomans are +3 because Russia attacks them with Safavids.
Yeah.
They get Caskets Riyadh, Sana'a, Targovis, and
Timbuktu.
Timbuktu, and loses Tunis.
Yep. Austria's attacking them as well.
Little
Pulling
cheeky
backs
Lux in
off
the tap.
of Austria, so like it's pretty much all of the Ottoman neighbors are against them.
They're having a good time.
Yep.
Let's see. Poland bounced Sweden out of Riga. Or I guess Sweden bounced
Love to
Poland
see
out
it.
of Riga, actually. So that's
We
something.
do like that.
Yep.
Makes me happy.
Africa's
Other than that,
pretty
Europe's pretty
amicable.
standard.
Yeah. South America, Aymara goes for maximum dots. That's fine.
Do get a double.
Yeah, they still get their double, but they make an enemy right away.
Yep.
See if it works out for them. Poland gets immediately ejected from Caracas, as expected.
Yeah. I remember them saying like you should like dot me instead, but I
He
don't
really
know
tried to
why
sell.
Poland
He really tried to
thought
sell
this
me on
would
that,
work.
but But I was like, dude, I told you from the start if you moved like this, I was going to take it. Like, there's not. I have
Yeah.
not made my intentions some mystery here. I've told you from the start
I
this was
don't
what
know
we were
why
doing.
they thought that this was gonna work.
Yeah, no. Um, all pretty standard stuff here. Shoshone bounces me out of Hawaii.
Fun.
Yes. Good times.
I'm sure you had a blast at seeing that.
Yeah, it was like, oh, come on, man. Like, what? What are we doing?
King of Prussia is not allowed to have fun in his own invitational. If you haven't heard.
Correct. That's the rule. Rule 1, die.
Exactly.
Well, I guess Amara's
You
the
get
one
it.
really enforcing that.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be the only power to do that over the course of the game. Just them.
Yep. All right, let's
Smooth sailing
talk.
everywhere else.
Oh yeah, that's right. Portugal took Bermuda in year 1. Don't know. I
Oh
don't know why
yeah,
you would do
yeah.
that. This really threw a wrench into all of the colonial relations.
Uh-huh. That is a. Do you want to talk about that now, or is I think there's that more of like a spring year 2 conversation? I think
Uh,
it's more of a spring thing.
we can talk about it on the build screen. What happens here? But I'm
Okay.
gonna go out on a limb and say that Portugal doing this to England just messed up how everyone else thought about colonial relationships and how the colonials,
Yup.
how much we could trust each other, and specifically
First, I was
the
really
biggest.
happy at seeing England get dotted, and
But it really
no spoilers, but I should not have been.
it significantly changed how England behaved in a way that acted as a big detriment to every other colonial on the board, including Portugal.
Yeah,
Like,
this changed the board dynamics way more than it really should. And the funny thing is that like England agreed to give Portugal Greenland as well. So like Portugal didn't even have to do this.
yeah, like what, what was? I don't know what the point was.
I
This was a very
Yep.
Luxon maneuver. This was a Luxon move.
He's probably the only player on the board that wasn't affected by it that much.
No, he definitely was because he's neighboring 2 of you and me.
God, this is so dumb.
That was an extremely impactful move, not in a good way. At least not in a good way for any
No,
colonial.
yeah, I don't think this worked out for anyone. I don't think there's a single player at the end of this entire game that's like positively affected by this move, which is crazy thing to say, but
All right,
it's what happened.
um, so I'll leave the floor to you. What happened between the English, the French, and the Dutch?
So it's like pure chaos. At first, me and France were like pretty happy. I mean, England losing a build or losing a dot is great. You know, we loved it. We love to see that. It's confirmation that Portugal was anti-Britain, and like England also moved against Portugal in Asia. So like that war's happening. You know, great times as like a confirmed ally we have in. We still feel like you're anti-Britain, which I think is still true at this
Correct. Yeah,
stage
yeah.
for you.
I'm still telling all of you that because that's what I want you to think. But it is
Yeah,
still
so like
true.
we
It's
still
still
think
true. It's
that.
just
Yeah, so we're very happy about this. Me more so than France, just because like I need one of them to appear super weak. Looks like the anti-England is manifesting. This is like visible proof I can use to point to people like Sweden and say, "Hey, England is weak. Go dot them, please." Like this is like my first reaction to this is just amazing. I love this move, and like I'm like talking to Portugal, like, oh, we can use this Bermuda fleet, and like if you want to go against England and like the North and like in like North America and like support some moves there, I can use like some ports in like Asia or something. Like we can absolutely do something here. England is like very distressed over this. Let's
Yes,
think that's the word we
I
can
did
use.
I did note that in some of my press with him.
He's like visibly, not visibly because it's like over like text. Like I can't see
You can
him. It's
tell
not
though.
face to face. But like yeah, like you definitely get that vibe from him that he like really didn't expect this. And not only that, but he really doesn't know what to do about it either. Which like is fine to feel, but like it's one thing to like have that going through your head and another thing to like let that leak through in your press to everyone. So like the vibe I'm getting from him, like whatever I get from him, like whatever he's actually feeling has to be like 10 times worse than that. And like yes, it is bad, but like Bermuda can be taken back relatively easily just by building fleets. It's not good, but it's not like England's dead, you know?
Yeah.
Um yeah. So I don't know when to get the timeline here. Either now or like in fall, maybe?
I mean, there's a lot of fun to discuss about how the relationships kept changing in that triple specifically.
Yeah. So I will figure this out later. But what happens here is like in like the hours following the fall news coming out, England decides that his best option for surviving the game, and yes, surviving the game, this is like winter in the first year.
Yep.
England is still like plus what, like 12, 11
Something
maybe?
like that.
I don't know.
It's not bad.
So they
Well,
still
it
have
is bad,
plenty
but
of builds.
it's bad, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, like me and France both have more builds by England, but it's by like a margin of like one or like two. It's not that much. And like my press to England has not been hostile. They did move to southern bite, by the way, which I'm really upset about.
Yeah, that
So yeah,
bad idea.
I'm very upset about this.
Don't make enemies.
Um, yeah, so I'm not happy with England, but I figure I can kind of like use this to like point them away from me and onto Portugal or whatever. Like, you don't want to fight both Portugal and Dutch, right? Yeah, like just focus on that. Don't fight me. Just move out of Southern Bite, and we're good. Um, like they seem to like generally agree with that. And like we did talk about builds, and like I tell them just like not build a fleet in London. That's what I say to them,
Mhm.
and they're like, sure. What happens behind the scenes is that England decides their best course for surviving the game because their position is apparently so dead here that that's what they're thinking about. They decide that the only way that they can keep going in the game is to be not only in an alliance with the France, but subservient to France in that alliance. So like I marked this down in my void post game, the little timeline here. England and France's press channel gets interesting. Uh, England starts like running by like every piece of press that they're doing and receiving to France. Like France now knows what deals England is making, what people are like offering to England, and not only that, but like England is like they're letting Tefra decide where they like build. It's like England like reports that I don't want them to build a fleet like right next to me, and like Tefra says just like build a fleet there, and England does that.
Yep.
So yeah, they're like hard allied, um, which I don't know yet, but England is now like fully like subservient to France here. France has final say on what England's moves are. what England's what kind of deals England's making in the press. Kefra is effectively playing two powers in this game here, and the rest of us don't even know it yet. So that's kind of what happens between fall and winter. That was all in
So
that day.
there was a lot concentrated in that day, but I will say that that wasn't the case for the entire day because England went back and forth multiple times on that
Mm-hmm.
arrangement. Because as I learned about it, I kept trying to talk him out of it and saying, "Hey, buddy, hey, it's okay, you're not dead."
Yeah,
And so
I was trying to point him towards like towards Portugal and like a little bit against France. Like most of it I was doing was like damage control over the move to Southern Bite. That was my main goal.
yes, the this was an interesting time because through the entire year, I think the position of England and you and France changed about every 6 hours
Yep.
with regards to what the pairing was, which will result in some really interesting move sets, as I'm sure you guys can all guess. Um,
So much fun.
it certainly seemed that at times Ironside's position was not particularly bound by by a strategy, and was more bound by whoever had spoken to him last, which is
Hmm.
not necessarily what you want to see in a game like this.
Yeah, it really did seem that like I would talk to him, and then a few hours after that, his position would be like completely flipped on everything we had talked about. I'd like convince him back onto what we had already agreed on, which is like really a frustrating thing. But like obviously, I know it's like between me and a Fritz. It's like a tug of war on who can get England on their side here.
Yes,
I'm still wanting to work with France against Britain, but I don't want to get like attacked by
you
Britain
want
and France.
France's hand to be forced, basically.
Yeah, it's like I want England to think that I'm on their side, so that A, they won't ally with France, but like B, they might actually attack France, and then that'll solve the whole like thing for me. And England just goes back and forth on it for pretty much the entire year. Um,
Yep. Yeah. Um, I guess with that we can talk about builds.
yeah, we can go to builds. Do you want to do mine first or yours?
I think we just go east to west like we did everything else, and just we can see
Yeah,
the
that works.
obvious ones. So like you build fleets here, I build fleet. I'm low on builds
Yeah,
because
I made it.
I got bounced out of Hawaii and Sardinia, so I maintain only 3 in this area.
I never made a deal here where I wouldn't build in Monado and you wouldn't build in the other dot you had here. We both
Oh yeah, that's
stuck to
right.
it.
But I was gonna do this anyways, so that was a good deal in my opinion.
Yeah, and I
It's like
figured.
it's
And
like
I don't really need Monado for anything unless I'm attacking you, which isn't my plan.
yeah. Um, let's see, pretty generic builds from everyone else. Wait a second, Ming messed up their moves here, didn't they?
Oh,
Yeah,
did they?
yeah, he did this.
Yes. This is the one configuration where you don't get dots.
Sucks to suck.
I mean, I obviously he's like thinking that like Ching's gonna cover the capital here, but
But there's no way Ching ever covers that capital here because then you have no counterplay, right? Because
yes,
building this
and like
fleet is like you got to do it.
every other thing you could do, like guarantees you want like a dot. Like if you went for Xinjiang and Hanyang,
Wait a
like you
second.
just go for both, and
Spoilers.
then you get a dot from that. Like, I guess you do like Pyongyang and Xinjiang, you run that risk too, but yeah, this just feels like a really bad outcome for Bing.
Yes. Otherwise, there was like a war. Like Ming and Mughals are not getting along.
Yeah, and I ties against Meagles too, I think.
He's probably saying he is, but hasn't actually made any
Well, actually,
commitment
no,
yet.
because like Miguel supported them in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was still like kind of upset with Mink about that balance, but like, they haven't chosen a side yet.
The balance was so that Ming could guarantee he gets this dot.
Yeah, which I do like that move for Ming if you can like not war IU as a result of it.
Kind of, but I think that you run the big risk of giving just Ayutthaya siding with Mughals because Mughals is the weaker power.
Yeah, like, the issue with Ming, I think, is that you have to bounce one of them in a spring, and it's really hard to do that without those two just saying, "Okay, let's just kill Ming now." It's really difficult to do.
Yeah. And on we go back to builds. England only makes one build in India, which is tragic, but oh well.
Yeah.
We got Mughal armies, we get Russian armies, Russision fleet. Cass, I think she had a retreat somewhere and disbanded it or something. Yeah. Oh yeah, because this she disbands the retreat from Tiflis instead of retreating it this way, and so she actually builds 4 units, 3 of which are
Mhm.
fleets in the Mediterranean. So I
Fun.
respond with the appropriate amount of fleets to counter her. I
You built, yeah, 3.
I really try to
Okay.
convince Luxon to make an army here in Trieste because that means he has to go this way. But Luxon is not particularly amenable to that type of negotiation, unfortunately. So what can he
I
do?
honestly like the army better than the fleet here. Just trust the Ottomans early, and like you can build fleets like year 3, I guess, and still get a decent line on Rome and Naples,
I would tend to agree, but I already know Luxon's thoughts are take these 2 centers and unlock the
and
gateway
then
eagle
attack
threat.
Ottomans.
Yeah, which is I think in this
Yeah,
position a bad idea because Ottomans are weak and Ottomans are allied to Poland, so you kind of I think you kind of
yeah. You
have to
just
go in immediately, but what do
like
I
Kingston
know?
split to like Otranto and then backfill, and then like you still like if you have the fleet go from Otranto and then like take Sarajevo and then send the fleet to like Greece, then you have that angle, like you have that attack just there without taking Rome,
Yeah. And if you have if you have
and
an
just do
army
that
in
later.
Trieste, I can completely 100% trust Luxon if he does that,
Yeah,
which is good.
like you just come back for it too. You don't have to take it first.
Yeah. Oh well. Um yeah, Cass is not in a very good position. Oh well. I'm not too concerned.
Hmm.
Portugal and I agreed to build armies, 1 army each in Iberia and bounce them continuously as an insulation against stabbing. Like I
Fair.
said in pregame, if Spain is strong and Portugal is weak, then this is a bad idea for Spain because you want to be able to stab. But I'm given what happened in the Americas with Aymara and Poland and to an extent Shoshone. I think that right now we are in. I know I am weak.
Yeah.
I am not sure if Portugal is strong, moderate, or weak. I think I would say strong, except he picked a fight with England off the bat. But I still don't
Hmm.
feel confident in fighting him, so I build the army and
Yeah,
ensure that I'm
but Joint
safe.
Army is good because then like if you at least if you tell Portugal that you're gonna make one, then Portugal won't attack you.
Yeah, exactly.
This year, you buy yourself time if that is their plan.
Yes. In the Americas, I build Army Bogota, Army Quito, Fleet, South Coast Panama. This is my
Hmm.
fuck you, Aymara build set. It's like, nope,
Yeah, I wanted. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, you go ahead.
I really wanted Parmervo to be a army, but I had to build a fleet here because of the Polish retreat. I just couldn't trust.
Yeah.
I couldn't build the army here and like move it towards Carib and then trust Poland to not dot me, especially because they spent like the entirety of fall trying to push you to attack me. So I just don't trust Poland at all. So I just feel forced to build the fleet here, and Poland was not very happy about that. But
But I
that's what
was.
happens. I did tell
Because,
them to not retreat there, and they did. So
yep, that's Tasnica for you. You say, hey, don't do this or we're not going to be friendly. And then, what do you know?
yep. So that fleet doesn't really do anything for me, but I don't feel comfortable building anything else.
Yeah. And I'm happy with it because it means you have to work with me now, basically.
Yep.
Good stuff.
To be fair, that's already the plan for me for
Yeah,
England.
but it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Aymara builds 3 armies and a fleet, which I'm not convinced is the right choice. Like, I think you want 2 fleets, and you wanna have fleets go this way and then out.
Fleet Chuma
Um,
feels awkward if you're not attacking Mapuche.
it's awkward, but I think it's
Uh,
required because as is now, you get one of these 2 fleet zones, but then I have this and you are stuck, like,
yeah, it's a 2v2.
here.
You do need a third to like break that.
You need the 3rd fleet to enforce this, and even then, it's still I mean, I don't know why even then, it's still not good because my plan is to bring fleets down and ruin
Yeah,
Aymara's day. This Aymara attack
yeah,
means that in North America, I build relatively friendly to Shoshone, trying to make peace with him and let him have Hawaii because I want to divert forces south to punish Aymara for, immediately trying to ruin my game. I'm like, nope, this is not happening. I'm gonna kill you as soon as I can, which feels fair in
makes
my
sense.
opinion. I'm I
It's
don't feel like
a valid response, I think.
yeah, if I ever because the other thing that Aymara stabbed me immediately told me is that it felt to me like it was pre-planned and like Tanglewood's entire game plan was centered around killing me immediately. And someone who does that, whose game plan is just immediately like, I need to kill this guy no matter what, is not someone that you can negotiate with. And so my other calculation is it feels like it's a relatively slim chance that I will get to have a game in South America because of the way that these 3 are cooperating. But I know that the only chance I ever have to get a game in South America is to kill Aymara. And to make very clear to Guarani and Mapuche that if they attack Aymara, they will have an ally in me for the rest of the game until Aymara is dead. And so that
Yeah.
factors into my decision making in builds as well. And then, yeah, North America. This build in St. Augustine was negotiated with England. I want to have a chance to snipe Belize, but I don't. But like, I want to build a fleet in. I want to build a fleet east or west coast Mexico City, so that I can defend myself against Oot from this angle, but still deploy this fleet to NPO and south. So I compromised that I want to and build the army in St. Augustine instead of a fleet, with the idea that in exchange England doesn't build a fleet in Belize and that we can work together. Now I still want that, but that's my attempt. That this is me trying to split that line because St. Augustine can also head up north. I can like maybe get Cherokee. If I want to, I could like do this kind of. It's like questionable, but it is a thing I can do. And my understanding at time of adjudication, keep in mind at time of adjudication, was that it was still
It
going to
changes
be
every 6 to 12 hours.
yeah, it was I thought that it was still going to be an alliance between you and England. No, sorry, not you and England. I thought it was going to be an alliance between you and France. And so I thought England was the odd man out, which meant that having England as a semi ally who kind of trusted me was valuable, right?
Yeah.
So,
And they got them to not build Belize too, which is pretty nice.
yeah, I mean, I told him it would be war if he did, and he thought that he thought that he was going to have to fight at least one of you, if not both. So he was not interested
Yeah.
in building a fleet
No,
there.
Portugal, Spain, plus one of us, there's only so many enemies England can handle.
Yes.
Like I like the not building in Belize for them.
Yeah, same. I mean, maybe I should have built a fleet in St. Augustine anyways and just committed. Problem with fleet St. Augustine is it makes very clear to England that he should like do this or something, and it just gets messy. It's not very nice. Oh
Yeah.
well. Yep. Those are my builds. We actually, I don't want a calendar. Your builds. South America. This looks
Yeah.
somewhat self-explanatory.
Yeah, just standard builds. I already explained the fleet build in the north. Fleet and Mars, that's just obvious.
Yep.
And you never don't build that fleet. Army in South Sebastio, mostly just to have the extra army. If I'm building 2 fleets, I want some kind of control inland
Hmm.
and a kind of war against Portugal coming north.
Yeah.
I do cover the 2 armies in Africa. Only reason I do that because I already have a
Uh,
South Tome guaranteed
uh,
here. I can
salt.
bounce.
Salt.
Oh, I'm
Salt. That's a fleet.
I thought that was a circle. Um,
Well, that is a circle. It's just the circle is
I
green.
can't. I don't remember why I built that fleet actually. I
Probably
think maybe I
because you
made some
want
deal
to
with
do
England.
this. I imagine you want to do this, this,
I know my plan with
this.
Gold Coast is to bounce Congo Spring,
Oh, yeah,
the
maybe you want to do
Lopez
this
Bay,
actually. Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I remember now. I bounced Lopez Bay in spring. Gold Coast moves to South Tome in fall, and then like Gulf Guyana bounces Lopez Bay in fall. I
Okay.
think that was the plan here, and
All right.
also like somewhat appeases Britain because I do have the like Gold Coast fleet right next to them. But I mean, I explained why I was there to England, and like they seemed to buy it. Which I mean, I'm not lying to England about it, so I don't know. But I did build a fleet in Core Manton, so I don't think England's like against me or anything.
Okay. That's good.
I think most of my builds are standard.
Yeah.
Like
Army, fleet.
I went plus 13. The only place I didn't build was in Monado as per our deal.
Put a little
So,
smiley face
I'm
on it.
just building.
Pacifist.
So yeah, standard builds everywhere else, really.
Yes. This army fleet hedging.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue for like double fleet, but just as army is like just in case, pretty much.
Just in case. It's like, just in case of what? Ah, well, No, what?
Well,
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
give France like any ideas,
Yeah. All right.
at least not more than
Well,
they already have.
let's see. Press. I kind of press. I guess we're gonna press. I kind of press Cassandra here, asking if she wants peace, expecting that she won't because she was very hostile to the idea that she had any responsibility in us fighting,
Hmm.
and so I didn't pursue it that intensely because I just didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
Did build 3 fleets
Yes,
in
she
the
did build
Med,
three
so
fleets in the Med. Um,
I believe it.
so my resolution now is that I have to secure like this border, maybe take Tripoli too, but it's kind of, I mean, it's taking Tripoli is questionable, but I can secure that border there, um, and then basically force her to peace, or else if she keeps fighting me, she will die on other fronts, and eventually she will not be my problem anymore.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
checks out.
I think you and me in at this point are plotting against Tokugawa. Um,
Yeah, we
the
are.
the idea is that I will support you into Madeira in South America, where Aymara is. In exchange, you will put me in Bonin Islands, which works really
Yeah.
well for me on both ends because as you now know, I really wanted Bonin Islands for my positioning, and I was okay
Mhm.
giving you Madeira because I thought that if this all works out, then I'll just get it eventually anyways. So
Yeah, Madeira, I don't really care about, but I do want you like causing Tokyo problems, so I'm more than happy to
yeah,
do this.
and it works for you because A, you get a dot in South America, but B, you want to make sure that you have a friend up here preventing Tokugawa from just immediately murdering you.
Yeah, this just works out.
We are best friends.
Exactly.
Yep. Let's see. Fleet. There's not too much to talk about here, I don't think. Oh yeah, there is Poland only building 3 in Europe. Um,
Oh yeah, they
to
built in
build
the colony in
building
South America, which
South
is
America.
questionable. I I,
Yeah.
I would have just like abandoned this if I were in Poland, to be fair, but
Well, if you were Poland, you wouldn't have moved to Caracas in Spain when Spain explicitly told you he was going to kick you out of it the moment you tried.
yeah.
But that's life.
Yep.
All right. Well, we did some fun negotiation talk, so I guess we'll move on to moves. Bada bing, and I spoiled the moves of China in a
I-
way. But this is pretty self-explanatory. I guess. Yeah, this is as we planned. Um, I remember. Actually, we should discuss. We'll discuss this now when we look at these moves. Over the build phase and up until moves, I distinctly remember that Ezio proposed to us that we should have a triple between us three, and that we should attack other people.
yes.
And that his proposal was that we could DMZ the border, and be friends.
Yes.
Why?
I remember you were kind of up for this plan. I very much did not want to do this. Do this.
Yes.
Um, I basically like I am one like just by being friends with Ezio, I have to lose a dot because I did promise him the
Andaman Islands. Yeah.
Andaman. Yeah. So I'm not a huge fan of doing that. But also I see like Ming is pretty against him. Portugal is telling me they're like vaguely interested in moving against Ezio. So like I kind of think that I can get away with it too.
hmm
So I just kind of want to just go for it and see what we can grab.
And I'm willing to move my fleets like this because I need your help in South America against Aymara. That's basically
Yeah,
the
I'm kind
reason.
of
Like I need
pressuring you into doing this.
you on side because Aymara decided that I don't get to have a South America game. I don't really. Yeah, I don't have a choice. I'm kind of along for the ride.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ezio is also like pressuring me to stab Portugal here, which like to be fair is like a decent like most Dutches do
You
end up
did it.
stabbing Portugal for like Timor, and like I'll probably stab Portugal with or without him. Like I kind of do stab Portugal this turn
This
actually.
is a stab,
I definitely do. Yeah.
which I was
So
mildly
I'm
annoyed
stabbing
with
Portugal.
because I did this to Ayutthaya under the impression that you wouldn't do this to Portugal because what this because I wanted us to all work together in South America. Now, it's not just your fault. Portugal stabs you too, so like it's just
Hmm.
chaos. But
It is mutual.
I'm sitting here like, guys, this is South American triple. This is not something we can afford to do.
I will say at least on my end, for Asia at least, I was pretty convinced that Portugal is going to go after Ayutthaya anyways. Like Ayutthaya was going to go after Portugal, so like those two would be fighting no matter what I did.
Hmm.
So I kind of like get away with attacking both here. In South America, I do believe the triple here. I don't really want to fight Portugal in South America. To be fair, I'm moving down to Goyas more to like defend myself in
It's the
case they
yeah,
do try
plug
something.
the hole basically.
I don't think triple is like that much of a threat to me, so I'm happy to just like sit in the back line, make sure Portugal can't go north, and like if they do start getting pressed by Guarani pretty hard, then like I'll step in to like make sure that Guarani doesn't like get huge
Mhm.
off of that. But I don't like I believe the triple's a thing, but I don't think it's that big of a threat to me. That's at least kind of where I'm at.
It's a big fun time, especially for me. Yes. So that's
Yeah.
Asia, and that's that triple.
Um, where do you want to go to next?
Cursory, India is chaos. Nobody's working together in India. Uh,
Yeah. Um,
well, Mughals is trying to work with Portugal, but Portugal doesn't buy it, and you know,
England
England
is
fighting
against Portugal, kind of, but like Eagles are
by
just sitting
default,
in
really.
Andrew Coast.
hmm
It's a mess.
Yes. Abyssinia
Uh,
doesn't like the anti-Congo line.
no, they did not. Portugal didn't like the anti-Congo line either, actually, and that would have been fine if either of them had like told me they didn't want to go against Congo, but this turn was the first turn that I found out about that,
Hmm.
so that was a real fun surprise for me at least. Like Abyssinia like just goes after me. Like they moved to Phnom Bornu here, which is just completely insane to me. I don't know why they would ever do this, but they do, and they didn't move against Cass. So, like this is obviously against me, and like Congo's in Mandara as well is like it's pretty clear that they want to take Hausa off me.
And I feel like
And
Abyssinia gets like way more by taking the support here, and then
mhm.
by stealing Sana'a and by marching on Cairo, because Ottomans have no ability to contest that.
Yeah, and like
Like
Azron would work with him with it too. So
if
they would have that. Like
Abyssinia had done all that, they would have gone. They would have gotten. Let me just clear the screen real quick. They would have gotten like what, +3? 1, 2, 3. I can count to 3.
yeah,
And no,
and
only +3 though,
instead
but
like
also they cripple Ottomans, which means they're gonna get Mecca next year. They're gonna get Riyadh when they convoy on over. It's just a sea of dots that are falling to Abyssinia.
yeah,
Normally, now
like
to be fair, normally Abyssinia attacking Ottomans is a bad idea because Ottomans are a bit durable. But this is an Ottomans that only got 3 additional centers in year 1 and doesn't
this is a
have
good
the
stab.
the Ottomans here does not have the strategic depth to stand up to a stab from Abyssinia.
The way they explain to me too, the only reason they're going after me is because by allying themselves with both Congo and Cass, the only way that they get a build is by getting support into my dot. And like how the states stretches them so thin too. Like it's not really a dot you want to be in until later in the game for them as well. It's like I don't know, this just feels like super terrible to me.
Unbiased opinion.
Like yeah, it is biased. Like I don't think this is a good move for them. You know, you only get the one dot out of this. You're reliant on people supporting you in, and it's really far away from like your main core as well. And like it just feels terrible to me.
I cannot
And like, I
blame.
would have given you a dot too. Like
Yeah,
I
you would have. Yeah,
if this
there
worked
are no
out,
centers here for Abyssinia out of this.
no. Like if you're
I
spawning
mean,
Conga to Euro, like it
the
just takes
center
so long to get any dots off of
you get
Acheron.
is Warsangali, but that's not worth
Yeah,
that
Congo
much.
and Bunyoro gives them a better line on like Acheron's core than Abyssinia has.
Yeah,
And it's just so difficult to
I
break
just don't
too,
like this
because
plan.
neither of you have fleets on the other end. I hate it. I hate it. And Portugal works with Congo too. So like it's literally just like me 1v1 in Congo. So it's like Azeron or not Azeron, A- A- Abyssinia and Portugal are like also against me. So it's just kind of rough. There's
Yeah,
somewhat of a reprieve in Portugal stabbing France as well. It's like France is pretty anti-Portugal, which is kind of nice. So at least I have like there's like some play here. And like so like Portugal's on now fighting like me, France, and Britain. They're fighting every colonial except you.
yes, which I like.
So I at least have like some kind of like friends here, but it still feels terrible in Africa here.
Excellent. Let's see. We'll go to Europe next. This was a move set to end all move sets. I don't have the ability to hold Tunis here, so it gets punted out. But all my fleets are racing east. The current problem is that Tefra, I don't know why on God's green earth this was the move decided on by Tefra. I mean, presumably what Tefra was thinking is, oh well, I'll move out and then I'll support this army in, and Luxon isn't going to do this because that would be crazy. But
Hmm
newsflash, you're playing next to Luxon,
Luxon's
okay?
crazy.
Luxon's crazy, yeah. So be aware.
He moves north. He moves it against me too. Like
Yeah.
he goes against Bremen. Like he's gonna
He
take it
also
too.
he
So
also moves against me with by supporting to Adriatic Sea instead of going to Otranto or anything. Moving the army
yeah,
south. So this leads to a lot of chaos where it's really complicated. France wants Florence back. France wants me to support him into Florence and to let him walk into Corsica, which is not happening, by the way.
no,
That never happening in a million years. Um, but that's what he wants to happen.
that's no way.
I'm trying to find some way, because the problem is now Cass gets 2 fleets on Naples against me. I'm trying to find some way where Luxon will support me remaining in Naples while, and in exchange, I support him to remain in Florence. So, like, the idea, for example, is like Luxon can cut Otranto by moving the fleet like this instead of attacking me, and in exchange, Rome would like support him to hold here in Florence against France. Um, there's a dozen different iterations that of this moveset that get discussed that I sorry, there's a dozen different iterations of this moveset that I discussed with France and Austria. And before fall moves come out, like before we look at them, I can't even remember what I did because I just like there was so much.
No, it's just a complete mess.
Yes.
My European visit is complete chaos. We can talk a little bit more about this when we get to North America, but these are kind of like my first hints that like maybe the alliance with France isn't going my way.
This looks less like a hint and more like a blaring signal.
More, I'm not entirely
This
sure because like
this
yeah,
move in
Cologne,
particular, this move in particular
yeah,
is what sets me off.
yeah, that is,
This is
yeah,
fine, this is fine, but France should not be supporting the Sils de Coulon. At least not like this, especially not like this.
yeah. I was getting there's some hints. Oh yeah, go to North America. They're supporting Britain into Nascapi. So yeah, this is the
Yeah.
turn where I realize it's not. But I was getting some hints in the press. France was like trying to get me to agree to Nance going to the channel instead of the fleet in Normandy. They were also they're like they were walking back some of the moves that we like previously did agreed on against England. Like they try to sell me on like a move to a Erie in North America. So they try to sell that to me. Um, they try to sell like them not going to Placenta Bay as well. And I felt I got the impression that like I talked them back into attacking England, but clearly not. And like
Mhm.
knowing what I did later, England is offering the world to France. There's no way France will ever work with me when England is offering what they are. I'll get the specifics of what that deal is next turn because that's what I figured out. But yeah, not great. I got stabbed by Austria, England to an extent because it's obvious working against they're working with France, and then France this turn.
Yes.
Um, Sweden and Poland at least both like supported me into Kiel's. Like at least they're my friends, right?
For now.
I Luxon like offered me like a sort of vassal deal if I just like let him walk into Bremen. I tried to turn that into like a maybe don't walk into Bremen and help me against France now, because with like all three of these powers moving against me, I won't have much of a position to like be giving away dots here.
Yeah. That's one way of putting
Um,
it.
yeah. So like if France is this big threat and Luxon wants to work against France, if you want my help against France, we need to start moving now, or I just won't be there to help against France later. He doesn't go for that, but that's what I'm trying to do there at least.
What gets me is France moved Paris to Strasbourg instead of to Rouen.
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know what this
I
what?
mean you already have like three on a Ghent here, so
I mean, yeah, but
or no,
you want the
four.
army. You want the army there instead of a fleet though to project power into Utrecht.
We have the army colon if you want it, but like
Yeah, but you want a
you
fleet that's
already have
here.
like enough. Yeah,
I mean,
I told France I was gonna like support
what you
myself
should
to
what you should actually
Southern Bite,
do
I think.
what you should actually do is you do this supported by this, you move this up, and then you still do this move to the channel.
Yeah.
And then you take this like that, supported by this. You have the defense against Austria with that bounce. And then next year you take, let's see, what do? The fleet gets disbanded. England cuts Amsterdam. You take Utrecht with this army. and then you support England into Amsterdam with that army
Yeah.
and that. And then Dutch is dead. That's a lot of
Yep.
arrows.
So that is the EF that
That's
we
like
were
it's like a chess
concerned
calculation as you're
about.
on the map.
I'm not having the greatest turn in the world, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else
Cool.
do we need to cover here?
America.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So
Um.
we fight Aymara. Aymara attacks Portugal for some reason.
Yep.
I don't
I told France
get
I
it.
was gonna hold in Ablime, so that's why they didn't dot me there.
Yep. Good boy, France. There are some tactics against Aymara. It's not really meaningful, honestly. It's just a big fight. Um,
Yeah.
I have to support Hold in Caracas now because Poland is really upsetty spaghetti about me going and taking the center I told him explicitly I was going to take, the center that every Spain
Crazy.
takes in every game. But
Yeah.
no, this is naturally a Polish dot, you see?
Of course.
Yes. No, I totally believe you. That's why I'm sat in it. England is just moving entirely against me, which I'm not a big fan of. This is a symptom of the thing I told you earlier, where England does whatever like the person who talks to him last said. I talked to England about 2 hours before the deadline, and France talked to England about half an hour before the deadline.
Yep.
So
And
it's
England just does whatever France says now.
no
As this
England
year.
does not just do whatever France says. England, like I said, England does the bidding of whoever talked to him last, which in this case was France by about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Um, and surprise, surprise, Uchishone decides that they're gonna stab me, which is like, sure, buddy. But this whole stab thing only works if they don't get attacked by Athabasca during this. And I can tell you that if I was Athabasca and I saw Uchishone making an effective stab on Spain, I would really heavily consider stabbing Uchishone and murdering him. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine how good the Athapascan position would be here if instead of
No,
doing
you like
all of
full
this,
committed south. You can take
and you
so
could.
much
Oh,
stuff.
you totally could too, by the way. Like imagine
Even
if
with
you
you commit against Inuit, you still have so much free room.
well, Inuit sides with you because of this.
True. True.
So if you
Yeah.
let me use a better color. This one. Let's see. That one. Say you do this, you just move everything south, literally. Like move south. That is wait a second. It's, that is a province. That's the lakes are bad. I don't like lakes on the map. But like you just do this. You throw this army in there. You bring this army down here to cover Ojibwe in the fall, and you just cut. You just cut Shoshone to pieces. You get these two dots right away. You throw, more armies southwards. And the
Yeah.
thing is, Athabasca was aware of what Shoshone is doing with his armies, so he knows that now, the moment this happens, he's going to have my support as well. Like there are going to be Spanish armies coming up as well, and just and
Yeah.
and the thing is,
And he just gets crushed.
like I said earlier, Spanish armies don't ever really get north, so he has my support, but he doesn't have to concede to me more than one or two centers at the most out of the Shoshone corps. It just, in my opinion, is the best move. But the other reason it's the best move is that in imperial diplomacy, if you want to win, you're going to have to grow at a good pace. You want to grow quickly. You want to be explosive. And to be honest, that's the most explosive thing you can do. Taking down Inuit as Athabasca is a years-long endeavor, and if Inuit is anywhere near competent, you will be delayed so long that you will not have a good chance at coming out in a victory. And I know that because I've played Inuit as well, and I've done that to somebody. I, I
Yeah.
held them off literally for 4 years and only gave up one center to Athabasca.
I agree with that. That's generally how that fight goes. It's
Yes,
just a grind.
there's just no point to it. But oh well. Yes. And I am moderately salty about this whole thing because this makes no sense to me. But Oh well, we'll see.
Well, getting suicide into by Aymar to the south, and then Ute from the north. I'm sure it feels great.
At least Yute's not quite a suicide because he has like
Well,
a
it's actually somewhat
it's
decent, but
it's
yeah.
decent because I moved my armies east. But like you don't the thing is like yeah, I moved my armies east, but you only get one dot. You only get Nueva Vizcaya because I pull this move like that, and this prevents Apache from falling. So the line sets up here, and then if I want to Death War Oot, then he doesn't really get anywhere either. Problem is,
Yeah.
sustaining 2 Death Wars would mean giving up some other theater or weakening some other theater. So whether or not that's worth it, I mean, we'll see. To be determined. Let's see. That's
Makes
about it.
sense.
There's like this move from Mapuche that gives me hope that he's going to attack Aymara. But it's just hope. It's not like a thought that it's actually going to happen, and you'll see why. Coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be great.
It's going to be really reliable. Let's see. That brings us over 3 hours on 2 years.
You want to get through the year?
Well, this is fall, so yeah, we
We're
can.
going through a great pace.
This was a painful phase for both of us. And like I said, yeah,
Yeah.
wait, is this is fall, right? No, this is spring. No, this is spring. Oh my god. Okay, I forgot. I have good memory, the best memory. Yes. Otherwise, I think most stuff is self-explanatory. Safavids stabs Russia here. I am really not sure why Safavids would stab Russia here. This feels like the worst thing you can do to this position. This is just random. I didn't think about this
The
during the game.
way I
But
heard it, both in the moment and post game, was that everybody thought the Ottomans were so weak that by being the one to like be Ottomans' friends and give them a safe border, they could do more things, and like instead of like having to like still fight Cass and like have her defend that, they can instead like Cass is pretty like needs like somebody to work with her, so like they can get that easy alliance, and it's pretty easy to have that support in any other direction. So like everybody thinks that by being the person to ally Cass, like they can do more things in like a different direction. So
it's cool
I
that
know
you
that's why
think
Safavids do it.
it's cool that you can
Um,
think you can do more things, but to attack Russia properly as Safavids, you need a fleet on the Caspian Sea anyways. So by using the element of surprise, you've lost your ability to make any lasting gains against Russia, and it's just not worth it.
yeah.
Because in this
So that's why
position,
Safavids
in this
go off, and I
position,
think Austria's same thoughts.
there's enormous potential in the Safavid position because not only do you get gains against Ottomans by working with Russia, but as you can see, Russia tried to support that move.
Hmm.
And let's just say for a moment, just for a moment, that Safavids had decided to play this position properly. What you should do in builds probably is you don't want this army in Tehran. I don't think. What you want is an army in Herat. Um,
Yeah, just press
instead,
Eagles.
yeah, and what happens when you do this
Like
is let me math it out in my
if
head.
Isfahan to Herat too, so just like if you had that army in there at the beginning, it would have been better.
Well, you move this army this way, right? You put Tabriz
Well,
down
yeah, but
here. You
yeah,
move that
attacking
army
Ottomans is
there.
just generally better because it's a lot easier of a fight than
Centers.
Russia
You get
is.
dots.
Yeah,
Get
get
Baghdad.
more centers faster, and then you
Yes.
can attack Russia once the Ottomans are gone.
And when you attack Ottomans, you have some way to deflect Portugal away from you and set up your stab on them. Then you also Mughals. It's really hard for Safavids to get into India. If you have a chance to do it, you have to take it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like Safavids should have dove directly into India on the spot. And by that, I mean they should have gone like, I think off the top of my head, what you want to do is actually move Uzgen here. You want to move this army down. You want to go there and there in spring, right?
Yeah,
Um,
like you can argue that maybe like if they had built the army there, like Mughals would have defended, but with how hard they're pressing against Ming, I'm not sure.
yeah, with this war with Ming they're in, with this chaos in the south, I think that you just have
They really can't afford it.
big opening. And like, let's say Like, I don't know. And like this fleet could go this way, I think. I'm not sure that it's a good idea. You might want to have a second unit move down this way instead to defend against Portugal. But the value of getting into India so quickly it's so large. It is like that's basically how Safavids, in my opinion, it's a big way of how Safavids can set up for a win is by doing that. Um, because you get a defensible border-ish down here, but you also get the potential for huge gains. It's just so bad. It's so good. I'm probably talking about it too much for the Spain Netherlands after action report, but like
No, but I do think it's good, at least for viewers to like kind of see the lines.
yeah, it's
I
like
think it's great.
I just think that like this would have been so powerful, and also I would have been much happier as Spain if the Ottomans had been like had if Cassandra had her head cracked open by Safavids, then it would have been much easier for me as well.
Yep, definitely would have been nice.
Yes,
It's unfortunate sometimes.
but alas. And then Ming attacking Russia for some reason. What are we doing? Like what?
I don't know what Ming is thinking here.
What's that?
After like stabbing Qing and then they're still stabbing Qing too. Like they haven't.
The still fight, yeah.
Oh no, they're combat token to Qing. Yeah, you would want Russia's support, but like why is Peking moving away? I don't
Uh,
know.
because this is moving south because Ayutthaya is fighting like this, and so you need to have defense on Kunming. The
Yeah.
problem is that there is no positional defense against that, so I don't know, man. Or I guess your backup plan is
Yeah,
to go to
Emil's
Xining,
retreating to
but geez.
Yongchang there really hurts.
Well, that's why you don't hard commit an enemy as year one in Ming, or if you do, it's Portugal and you kill him.
Uh-huh.
All right. This is fall, right? No, this is spring
Yeah.
still. This
No,
is still
no,
spring.
yeah. Okay.
Okay,
We get a
fall.
fall then.
Fall. Well, yeah, we spent a lot of time on spring. Fall of year 2.
You ready to
Asia.
talk more about EF?
Not yet. Let's go to Asia, where I get Bonin Islands, but Tokugawa just tries to tap Philippine Sea. So it's
Yep.
fun.
Oh, at least you get the dot though.
Yeah. Dot. I like dots.
Um,
I, this is not.
oh,
Yeah, you
yeah, I was hoping to bounce Portugal there, and I lost the
you
guess,
should not have bet on that
unfortunately.
because there was a dot right there.
True. It's a bit of a misplay on my end.
Yes.
I also thought maybe Tokyo instead would support themselves to Ryukyu.
Yeah, this is kind of
I didn't see the Philippine Sea coming.
this is incoherent in my opinion.
Yeah.
You either support hold Bonin Islands, or you like support Bonin Islands to Okinawa Trough, or you support Kuroshio Current to Ryukyu, and cut Okinawa Trough with Bonin Islands. Like this is not, in my opinion, a very good moveset at all.
Yeah.
And then NPO for some reason tries to snipe Koryak despite India having a fleet there. Like, I think there's better uses for that fleet. Like I don't know,
Indonesia is
moving it
pretty
to
funny.
Kural Sea. What is?
Go to the south a little bit. What Portugal does there is pretty funny. They try to stab me,
Oh
but
yeah.
they lose like both of their dots because of it. It's the guess wrong.
Oh yeah. That's a bad guess.
Yeah, we made peace with the heavy quotes on it.
Mm.
So it's just what Portugal. I like specifically told them that Timor Sea would be the one to support Coral Sea in. So I obviously lied about that,
Yeah.
and that's the consequence.
I mean, I can't
You
blame
lose
you
your
for
dots.
lying. I cannot blame you for making that
Mhm.
lie.
Yep. Your dots are now gone. Thank you very much.
Gracias. All right. Let's see. What happens over here? Oh yeah, that's right. Safavids goes to attack Russia, but only gets 1 dot out of it. Hmm.
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 I wonder who they could have tried to get more dots.
I don't know. It's a crazy idea. Do you think that you should try to get more dots out of an attack?
I do happen to think that more dots is generally better.
Hmm. What an odd concept.
The Ottoman holds are interesting. If you want to pan over a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know why AAA holds here.
So the key here is that I propose a peace deal to Cass. I forgot about this. I thought I proposed a peace deal and lied, but I proposed a peace deal and told the truth. My peace deal to Cass is that I will take Tunas from Gulf of Gabes. She will disband this unit on the retreat. In exchange, she gets Sicily and she gets Naples. Um,
Okay.
because when this stopped being anti-Ottoman and when Luxon didn't clearly attack the Ottomans, my new read is that fighting the Ottomans is bad, and I don't want to do it anymore. So that's what I do. I
Yeah.
just decide we're not fighting Ottomans anymore. And that whole thing about Florence, I support held Luxon in Florence, and he moved south into Rome anyways.
Yeah.
And
That's fun.
that fleet is forced disbanded, by the way.
Oh, wait, no, can you just go to Tyrrhenian?
Oh, never mind. I can. Never mind. I'm stupid. I can go to Sharonian. I think I disbanded anyways though because I need builds. Because of this. Because I
Fair.
decide to gamble. I go to Osseous and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this anyways. So you should do something better with your armies. And he doesn't. He does this attack, which is generic, but which works because I go over here and take Cherokee instead.
Yeah, which I do approve. Do you like
It's
to
a
see that?
it's a gamble.
Yeah. I will never not like you taking dots against Britain here.
Yeah, it's true. We bounce in Belize. Britain takes Havana. This moveset is incoherent from England. I don't understand it. Because I tell him before the move phase that France is going to try to snipe Bahamas, and he believed me and covered it, but still stabbed me and didn't commit to fighting France. I don't get it.
England. Oh God. Okay.
Yes, it's the classic whoever talks to England last diplomacy.
It
I
really is.
I recall you and I bamboozling Poland like this, right? Where I just didn't
Yep,
tap,
that
and
was
so
fun.
we get out, and now Poland is stuck. And I don't
Yeah,
like
they just
that.
had to support hold.
Yeah. In South America, we have all the support holds all the time. It's good times. Um, why was that?
I think that's just a map error.
Yeah, that's got to be a map error. Um, but Portugal is now working with Aymara for some reason, despite having the ability to take back the center if Portugal wanted to work with you. But
I don't know what's
this
going
is
on with
chaotic.
that.
And this is
Yeah.
the idea of a triple between us three has clearly broken down at this point. I was the
I
one
think
most in
this is
favor of
like
it.
kind of somewhat due to Grani meddling here. I think they got to Portugal a little bit.
Yeah, Guarani clearly proposed
Um,
peace with Portugal because Portugal didn't hold their dot.
yeah, I don't know why Portugal would believe that,
Well, actually, this
but
dot's
they
forced, isn't
doubled
it?
down against me.
Looks like it's forced, but
Yeah, could that? Yeah, no,
like,
Portugal couldn't have held that.
but you got a
There's
free
no way.
forced disband. Well, you could have if you moved smartly in the spring, but wait, no, because there was a
Yeah,
retreat
he's
here, right?
losing.
Oh no, this was bounced. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh no, but you could have because you just support here like this.
I yeah, that might work.
That would work. Or you
Yeah, this is
support
like a
hold your
pretty
army like that.
clear South American triple here.
Yes, and it's stupid because like dot, a dot, that's a dot.
I don't know why Guarani is going
You
to
have
Milquoid too.
I don't
It's
know.
super incoherent to me.
Mapuche just has
Oh
like
yeah,
a clean.
Argentine basin too. That's like, yeah. They were like gearing up for a stab against Mapuche, and they're like trying to get me to stab Mapuche like next year. And like I kept telling them, and this is more of a next year thing. Like I kept telling them like, if they stabbed Mapuche, then I would stab them too. But they kept trying to get me to attack Mapuche first, which is just something I didn't want to do.
But like Mapuche had such an easy
Um,
position. Can you imagine that you just
I
like
know
like
that's a
like
misplay of
take
my.
this, do
It's
here, move
so
this
easy.
fleet here. You know that Spain is death warring Aymara for the rest of the game, so it's easy
Yeah,
in
just
that sense.
capitalize on it.
Like you kill him, kill him now, right now. You can do it. His
Yeah,
head,
Mapuche is
his
committed to like the colonization game for no reason whatsoever, which just
yeah,
never
it's
works.
so slow. You have to have growth somewhere else.
Yeah,
And like Aymara's head is, I've wrestled Aymara's head into the guillotine, and I just need Mapuche to pull the lever to drop the blade, and he's like, "No, I don't wanna." Like, but this is such a killer
It
move, man.
sucks.
This is a
Yeah.
dead Aymara because if this isn't a support filed, then my fleet lands in Peru Basin, and we can take Exora in the spring of next year. Like we take it, then we could take Choima in the next year. We could take Lima at the same time. So like when I committed to death warring Aymara, this is the vision. The vision is Mapuche acting in his own self interest, helping to kill Aymara, and it would vindicate my entire position in South America because Aymara would die in a single year. Like that, losing this, maybe Chipaya as well. If Guarani hops on it, then maybe Ween Hayek or Chiquitano, like one of these two. Like if
Yeah.
Aymara collapses this quickly with the position that with your position, Salt, I get to pivot immediately from fighting Aymara to blasting you across the continent. And that would be a game changer for me because I would be able to then reinforce North America and maybe stab
Mhm.
Portugal. It was
It'll
game
be
changer.
a game
Game
changer
changer.
for me too, in different ways.
Well, yeah. I mean, it still might be good for you in the short term, at least, right? Because you'd have a chance at
Yeah, like
Nokubu, and
dot is dot. So I'm happy with taking it.
but like it's so close. But why? If you want to win, you have to make plays. You can't just sit in the corner and suck your thumb.
Yeah, the only reason Mapuche even gets a bill is because like us, like Portugal went well for them
Yes,
in
because this yes,
Australia.
but like this is killer. You could just kill. You can do stuff, man. You don't have to sit there and wait until someone of your allies says, "Oh yeah, you can stab me now." You can just do it. You can just do it,
Yep.
and I would have been quite happy with Mapuche. And it's not like I have the ability to attack Mapuche either, because to do that I will need to pull fleets down to attack him. But as you may note, I'm kind of preoccupied right now, and my fleets might be needed
A little
somewhere
bit.
else, like here against Oot, or even here against Tokugawa. Like, there's no world in which stabbing Aymara is a bad thing for Mapuche. Because the next thing, right, is Mapuche eventually is going to need to fight you over here. This is an inevitability if Mapuche wants to expand colonially. You have to fight Netherlands. But if you want to fight Netherlands, you're going to want to collapse them as soon as possible. So, like, sure, England and France are a problem for you here, but they're not going to be able to collapse your South American position properly because you can retreat to Amazonia and hold Belém like this, and you have a lot of options to hold South America and as long as let's see, I'm trying to think. Like, as in you holding South America means you have less disbands, means the progress in the East Indies takes longer. And
Yep.
it allows you to sack units in South America to support the war against Mapuche. But if Aymara gets killed in a year, right, and then I stab you immediately, your position, because of the way England and France are behaving as well, just collapses. Like you would die. No offense, Salt.
Yep. No,
I
no,
I
I
like
would.
you, but you would just die, and Mapuche would reap all of this benefit. Maybe let me correct this. All of this benefit.
I mean, welcome to Dutch. If one thing goes wrong for Dutch, that position is just
Collapses like a
gone.
deck of cards. But that's why this game is frustrating because that opportunity, man. Look, kill him, kill him. You
Yep,
you
just
gotta
do it.
make. It's like you gotta make plays. You gotta make plays. You cannot be a sheep. You cannot sit still and jerk off all game. You gotta go and kill people. You gotta
Pretty
you gotta.
much. Yep. I mean, not I you can't just sit here in this game and expect to like win it. Like it's just not
And
how imp dip works because if your game's going slow, it doesn't like it's only natural that like somebody on the other side of the world is going to have a very very fast game, and if you're not at least keeping within range of that, then you're going to be left behind, and it won't matter how well you do in like the next 10 years because you didn't
game's over in 5.
snowball
Game's over in 5.
fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to start snowballing early or it just won't matter.
It's like you're playing a game of baseball, man. And in baseball, sure you can settle for singles and you can score 2 runs in a game and you can guarantee that and that's good. But if you want to win baseball games, you're going to need to score more than 2 runs a game. You're going to need to score like 5.
Yeah.
Hopefully Europeans understand the baseball reference. I don't think they would have gotten the football reference because in football you can be like compare field goals to touchdowns, but I don't think that
How
the
popular is
Europeans.
baseball over in Europe?
I mean, I think they know about it more than American football at least. It's like pretty
Yeah, that's a good
explanatory,
bet.
whereas like American football is like quite complicated actually.
Yeah.
Gotta catch the
Um.
ball! Catch the ball! All right.
Fun.
Let's see. Let's go
Uh,
miscellaneous. Oh no, wait. You have other moves to talk about.
yeah, we can talk
I just spent
about
forever complaining
EF
about this because.
this turn.
Uh,
So,
right.
in a EF alliance, if you're England here, what dots would you reasonably expect to gain from an attack on Dutch here?
I forgot how.
What would you
I
ask
forgot.
for?
I forgot what we
We're
did
going
to
into
England in
it.
press.
We're going into it.
Yep.
What? So if you're England, you're hard. You're
Hmm.
allied to France. You're like committed. You're attacking Dutch. You and France are like splitting up my dots between yourselves here. What do you think like England should like expect in this split here?
I think New Amsterdam looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think England, in fact, even if France worked against them, could guarantee take it. I mean, I guess if
Yeah.
France doesn't like France could support hold, but like whatever, you can take
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a
I think
reasonable
maybe you
assumption
could.
to make.
I mean, Bermuda is your core. Maybe you could ask France to support you into it.
Yeah. That would be reasonable as well.
But I mean, if you wanted to be this England, you could offer to support France into it,
Oh yeah, you could. If it would
and
be
then you
like
could.
extra nice to France, but you would like maybe like you get something like the South, the Caribbean. France might
Well,
help you with
France.
that little dot cluster there.
Well, France gets you into.
Um.
Where you get France into Puerto Rico, then France gets you into Saint Martin.
Oh yeah. Maybe in Europe, England would get something, right? Maybe France would help England out there.
A little bit.
Um. So for the viewers, these moves look super 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 scuffed. Because I've taught England out of allying with France here.
Yes,
But let's.
I also will take some credit for this because I spent a lot of time telling England that France was planning to stab him,
Mhm.
and I told England that he should cover his centers. And so, as you will see, he covered this. He
Yeah,
covered. I mean, this was me, but whatever. He covered Boston and Falmouth. Like this was hilarious.
yeah. Austria had some role to play in it as well, I think, but it was like
Yeah.
mostly us two, if I'm remembering right.
There's
Um. Anyways, point that I'm getting at here, um, is that a reasonable English player would like at least get some dots out of attacking me. Like there are plenty of dots England can like reasonably grab, and that France would like just say yes because you're attacking Dutch. You want England on side for that. Um, and like maybe if England had done that, France would still like
I'm-
have worked with me. But instead, what England did back in after Portugal dotted Bermuda here, the exact nature of this deal was that England would just give France everything.
England. I remember this now. England offered to give France everything and never tried to negotiate it back with France. And so England.
England pitched this to France.
Yes. No,
It's
England, this is
insane.
not only this, England pitched this to France and then never tried to negotiate it. And so then England came to us, came to you and me, and was like, well, my deal with France means I'm going to give him all of these centers and not get anything. And we were like, no, idiot, don't do that.
That's so. If you look at some of these French movies, kind of explains some of it. Like go to North. America here.
Yeah, like France went to
In a
take,
regular in a EF, France does not walk to New Amsterdam here.
and I think if England had said to France, "Hey, can you support me in?" France would have said
France would have just said
yes.
yes.
He would have been
They
like,
would
"Oh
have
yeah."
just done it. like,
Like
and like go to
Ironside was like negotiating
Europe.
against himself. I don't.
Like, you can see that France is like under the impression that they will get everything because England told them that they will give France everything. So there was no way France was ever going to work with me when England literally offered to just like feed France my entire country and take nothing for themselves here.
Yeah.
So that was really fun to deal with. So I figured it out like halfway into the phase here,
Hmm.
and England just straight up tells me that yeah, they have a deal with France and that they're gonna feed France all of my dots. I was under the impression that like Teffer would stab both of us with this kind of deal because can you go to like the clean map before the moves?
I don't. I can pull it up. I guess. I just
Oh,
pulled the moves.
well, the way this worked out was like Tefra can like take these English supports into my dots and also just walk into a bunch of
Like Bahamas.
Britain's dots. Like they could have just dotted us both. And I thought that was how this phase was going to turn out. England was like fully convinced that like France was gonna work with them, like
Well,
which
France.
France wouldn't work
Correct.
with England in this position.
Well, it's not the position; it's the promises England's making, which is, "I will give you everything."
It's just like I am like this promise is made like spring, like winter '01, spring '02, so early into the game too. Like there's so much play left in England's position, just throw it all to France.
I say we talked England
I
out of it.
had
We
this
had to talk. We had to talk England out of that multiple times over the course of the phase.
yeah. The last day in press, I sat down with England for like 4 hours, and that conversation took 4 hours to like talk them out of attacking me and maybe defending against France.
Yeah.
That was like a continuous 4 hours of my life doing nothing but convincing somebody that they shouldn't throw the game in year 2. And keep in mind, the only bad thing that's happened to England this entire game so far was that Portugal dotted them. That is literally it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good time.
I it's so dumb.
It was an interesting moveset.
Yeah. So like the slight silver lining of that is like once I figure out that England is just feeding everything to France, France's moves become really easy to predict. So like I kind of just know what France is gonna do now because I know England isn't taking anything. So I don't have to guess which unit is moving into my dot and which is like supporting game because the answer is all of them. They're all moving into my dots.
This was so stupid.
Um,
I
without the English
I'm
supports
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry, Ironside, but like this
No,
was
no, don't be
but
sorry. He
but
knew.
this whole promise, you just blew up the entire game, man.
It really did. Like throwing
It
in
was
general is not something that I like or
but
that I
this thing,
approve of.
it made four of the only colonial position that remained like moderately coherent after year 2 was Portugal's. Every other colonial position became at least somewhat incoherent as a result of all of this.
Yeah, like me and France had this steady thing where we were gonna kill England. Everyone else seemed down to kill England, and then England gives France the offer of a lifetime, and it just throws the whole thing just in chaos. It's like, of course France is going to take that deal, but like, who throws in year 2? It's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
I had to I had to talk somebody for 4 hours straight out of throwing the game in year 2, and I had to like keep convincing them afterwards to still not throw, because the last person to talk to England is the one that gets to control what England does.
Yes, that will come up later. I will explain how that comes up later when we get there, which probably I don't think that specific incident will be in this video because we're at 3.5 hours runtime already. But
Yeah, this will be a part
but it
2 thing.
it comes up again that the last person to talk to England controls their moves about 3 different times, I think. Um,
Honestly, if you told me that England was like played by AI, then I would
we did.
believe you.
I do remember talking to Tefra later in the game, like in year 5, and I said that Ironside's moves did look AI generated.
Hey, dude. Hey, dude, though, you told me this was like chat just like
Chat
masquerading
GPT.
as a power in this game. You like asked me to point out which power was played by the AI. It'd be England every time. It's
Let me.
just not coherent.
I gotta make a good deal with France. Hey, France, want to have all the centers? Oh,
You just
I'm
want to
being
have
offered a
everything.
I'm being offered a better deal by Netherlands and Spain. Let me take that instead.
It's so dumb. It's just like I had a great thing going against England, and they like the only thing I think that could have like not I could have like turned things around to where like me, France, Spain, and Portugal wouldn't just instantly murder Britain would be if Britain just decided to throw, and that's what happened, you know. So there we go. Um, I
Yes. That's so we can talk about the rest of the board. I want to end at year 2 because I think if I remember properly, there is something in the next year. The viewers can't see it, but it's up above Greenland up here. There's another slide that comes up. Um
Mhm.
which I would need to take about 20 minutes to talk about and maybe laugh at, and
I
we'll
think
get
the
to
end of
that.
year 2 is a good turning point, especially because of the scoreboard after this turn.
Oh
I
yeah.
did get England to not throw, so like France actually is in a really bad spot here. Like if you go to the scoreboard,
Let's see.
France was like -5 or something.
That's 4 I have them. I
It
think I have the right
was
one. So that's
maybe
the
that was
start.
year
What, year 1? No,
maybe that was
this is year
next
2.
year, but I
No, it was France was +1, I thought. Let's see. Let me slap
I
it
would
down.
never.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Like me and England are like number 1 and number 2, and we have 5 bills combined, and France has 1.
Yeah, and Portugal's
Now
-1 and I'm
normally,
+2. Like,
yeah,
incoherent.
normally this does look pretty good, but I also did just talk England into covering all of their cores against France, so they can't
Because they
actually
can't build over
build
there. Yeah.
anti-France. So it's
Yeah.
just the position is so messed up
Let's see. What else
right now.
happens across the board? Somehow this works.
Oh,
That's something.
I don't remember how that was going.
Portugal is doing this to fight France, but but they attacked Ageron too. But as Portugal, you don't tend to want to fight Ageron and France at the same time. It tends to go poorly, believe it or not.
He would have thought
Portugal, uh,
that's a misplay.
that's
Don't
the
know why would
-1
you
right there.
do that. Yep.
There's like this BS we do against Ayutthaya. It's funny.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my relationship with Ayutthaya more when it becomes more relevant, but this is part of it. um,
I like that one.
yeah, Chang is being crushed over the head with an axe.
Yep.
And Russia's also being crushed over the head with an axe, despite it being the worst
Uh,
idea for Safavids to do. And for Poland
yeah.
could have killed the Ottomans could be dead here. Everyone could have all these dots. There could be dots for
Yeah, they get
everyone.
some respite from Sweden stabbing Poland here.
Yeah.
Oh, also both Sweden and Poland decided to attack me for Kiel after they both let me into Kiel. They both like gave me their support to Kiel in spring here, and now they're both like
Getting
stabbing
kicked
for it.
out.
So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incoherent is the word of the day.
It was a game,
All right. Well,
a
on
year.
that note, we're gonna call part 1 here, I think. In honor of this game, I will say some incoherent shit. And Inkabach. Okay? Those are the words of the day.
Sounds about right for this game.
Yes. So thanks for watching, and look out for part 2. It'll be on the way.